Because she was ugly. She actually transmigrated to a primitive beast world and became the group's favorite. Various big shots are competing to be her partner. There is not only the handsome and delicate green python, but also the gentle white tiger. The sly silver fox even sticks by her side every day, begging for affection. The handsome men from other tribes are also not holding back. This situation made the girl exclaim she couldn't handle it. As soon as Lorien transmigrated, she discovered 4 bears were fighting fiercely over her. Could it be they were fighting because they thought she was too small and not enough to eat? Scared shitless, she immediately thought of climbing a tree to hide. But she had injured her leg when she fell through. A soft hiss immediately caught their attention. She saw 4 large brown bears charging towards her. They transformed into 4 burly, muscular men, each claiming the little female was his. Lorien was completely confused. What female? Had she really transmigrated? Seeing that their argument was getting nowhere, the Beastmen finally proposed that all 4 become her partners together. As they spoke, they reached their greedy hands towards her. Lorien was utterly terrified and frozen. So they weren't fighting earlier because they wanted to eat her, but because they wanted to get intimate with her. As the men drew closer and closer, Lorien hugged herself tightly. However, against absolute strength. Her struggles were useless. Her clothes were already mostly torn off, just as she thought she was going to be completely devoured. Then, a scream was heard. One of the thin men fell to the ground in response. Not far away stood a man dressed in a blue robe. His handsome features were sharply defined. He had a lean figure, but still carried a strong presence. He was absolutely a top-tier beauty. With just a few moves, he sent those 4 bear orcs to meet their ancestors. His cave was nearby. He had originally intended to get a good night's sleep, but he kept hearing the bear beasts roaring loudly over here. Annoyed, he had planned to teach them a lesson. Unexpectedly, he ended up saving a little female by chance. He smoothed his clothes and slowly walked towards Lorien. He saw her curled up into a small ball. The corners of her eyes were slightly red. 2 streams of tears streaked down her fair face. Such a beautifully ugly female. It really made one's heart ache with pity. He unconsciously crouched down, reached out to wipe away her tears. But his tone was extremely cold. Don't be afraid. They're all dead. As a modern person, Lorien had never seen such a scene. She couldn't help but shiver. This man actually spoke of killing so casually. But before she could even utter words of thanks, the man stood up and looked down at her. There are too many wild beasts in the forest. If you want to live, come with me. After saying that, he turned and left directly. Lorien quickly grabbed her bag and limped after him. Although this man seemed terrifying, but at the very least, he doesn't eat humans. Nor did he force her to do anything. He even stepped in to save her. To survive in the beast world, for now, she could only follow him. Suddenly, the man stopped walking. He turned around and introduced himself as Qingjue. Lorien, caught off guard, bumped right into his chiseled, 6-pack abs. She cried out in pain. Then she gave the man an awkward smile. Sorry. I was running too fast. My name is Lorien. Actually, for a thick-skinned beastman, this little bump was nothing. But the little female's nose tip reddened from the slightest touch. He thought, females really are delicate. Especially this little female in front of him. So he directly took the large backpack from her arm. With his other hand, he picked up the unsuspecting her. Lorien, off balance, instinctively wrapped her arms around Qingjue's neck. Qingjue chuckled softly. This little female is silly, but quite amusing. He noticed her body was very soft. And she was almost weightless. A faint, subtle fragrance drifted into his nostrils. His whole body began to grow restless and hot. He thought it must be the season's effect. He, who usually kept his distance from women, actually felt a stirring in his heart. He forcibly suppressed the restlessness inside. and brought the little female to his cave. Seeing Lorian's foot was still bleeding, Qingjue decided to go out and find some medicinal herbs. After all, females are born delicate and fragile. Even just a small wound could cost you your life. After the man left, Lorian took clothes out of her bag and changed. She couldn't bear to throw away the torn one either. In this beast world, where there is nothing, with some mending, it could still be worn for a few more years. Just as she was still worrying about how to survive in the future, a mechanical voice suddenly sounded in her mind. "Welcome, host, to the Beast World continent. I am your system, Jiaoliuliu. I was the one who brought you here. This is a Beastmen world with many males and few females. Females can have multiple beast husbands. The males here are all exceptionally handsome, but the females are extremely ugly. So even though your looks are average, you can still stand out here. I believe you will definitely like it here." Lorian rolled her eyes hard. "Thanks a lot," sarcastic. She was originally living just fine in the modern world. She had finally waited for the college entrance exams to be over, but then got pulled into this kind of place with a harsh environment and scarce resources. Survival itself is a problem. Who would fall in love with this place? Host, please don't worry. You can exchange affection points for daily necessities, such as salt, clothes, seeds, and the like. You can also use reputation points to exchange for survival skills, including magic types, talisman spells, weapons, and such. The way to gain affection points is to make male beastmen fall in love with you. The deeper his feelings for you are, the higher the affection value. The prestige value is to make other beastmen feel gratitude and admiration towards you. Then I don't want to stay here either. You should just send me back. But the system told her she couldn't go back. Before you crossed over, you fell off a cliff. If I hadn't pulled you over, you would have been dead already. Lorian felt like crying, but had no tears. Then you didn't just pull me over for no reason, right? Is there something major happening? The system chuckled. Actually, it's nothing much. Just fall in love. Have some babies. And by the way, save the beast world. So if within 5 years, your affection value and prestige value don't reach 10 million, you will suffer a lightning tribulation. Right now, there's an incredibly handsome male beastman right in front of you. Go win him over and complete the task early, so you can retire and live a laid-back life ahead of time. As soon as the words fell, the girl heard movement outside the cave. She went outside to check, and saw Qingjue's figure gradually approaching, dragging a tail dozens of meters long behind him. Lorian instantly collapsed to the ground in fear. Qingjue was actually a snake beastman. She had been most afraid of snakes since she was a child. How was she supposed to win him over like this? Qingjue slithered to the cave entrance, his tail directly turning back into 2 feet. Seeing the little female's terrified appearance, he gently carried her to the stone bed and applied the herbs he brought back on her wounds. Don't be afraid. From now on, you are my mate. I won't hurt you. He had lived for decades. Usually, he was either hunting or improving his strength. His life was peaceful and boring, but he never thought about finding a partner. The females in the beast world were not only lazy and sloppy, but also had terrible tempers. But this female in front of him felt different. He actually wanted to live with her for a long. He gently put down Lorian's leg. Leaning in, he soothingly kissed her cheek. Flores, soft. Only then did Lorian snap back to reality. Her eyes widened in shock. She had actually been kissed by a snake beast. Qingjue stood up and walked toward the firewood he had brought back. You must be hungry. I'll go grill some meat for you. After saying that, he skewered a rabbit larger than a sheep and placed it over the ready fire. A moment later, Qingjue handed the grilled meat to her. I've always eaten raw meat before, so I don't have any salt. Please make do with it for now. I'll go out and find some for you tomorrow. Lorian's eyes were full of gratitude. She had noticed earlier that Qingjue seemed somewhat afraid of fire, but he still personally cooked food for her. What more could she possibly complain about? She was just about to say that salt wasn't necessary, when the system reminded her that the shop had some. Coincidentally, she had a newbie reward of 5,000 affection points, enough to exchange for a small packet. Using her backpack as cover, she took out a small packet of fine salt wrapped in leaves. I just happened to have some salt in my backpack. Qingjue looked at the little female, not knowing. What kind of strange material is this? Backpack and clothing? She looked again at the fine grains of salt spread on her fair, tender palm. She nodded lightly, sprinkled a little bit. The flavor was indeed very fresh. Lorian ate for a while. She noticed that Qingjue beside her hadn't moved at all, so she asked him to eat together. Qingjue said he wasn't hungry, but the corner of his mouth unconsciously turned up. So the little female actually knows how to care for others. His Lorian really is both beautiful and kind. It's just that she's too thin. He secretly resolved that in the future, he must fatten her up until she's fair and plump. After eating and drinking her fill, Lorian lay down on the dry grass. But Qingjue could sense that the little female was still a bit afraid of him, so he pretended to fall asleep first, wanting her to relax a bit. Sure enough, after Lorian saw him fall asleep, she immediately got up and stretched her limbs. However, the cold wind outside made her shiver uncontrollably. Staying frozen like this all night would surely make her catch a cold. She glanced at Qingjue across from her. His eyes closed. He leaned against the stone wall with a calm expression, as if he wasn't cold at all. Just then, the system's voice rang in her mind. Beastmen are all cold resistant. There are blankets in the shop, but the host's current affection points are 0. After speaking, it showed a mischievous grin. But host can get close to the snake Beastman to gain affection points. He already has a favorable impression of you now. As long as you stick close to him, you can gain affection points to exchange for items. Seeing the system's mischievous face, Lorian was so angry she wanted to curse. But driven by the cold wind, she still walked over to Qingjue's side. Steeling herself, she pressed close to him, praying inwardly that he wouldn't wake up, unaware that Qingjue wasn't asleep at all. Although he didn't know why, the little female who shivered upon seeing him would take the initiative to get close. He quite enjoyed the feeling of being relied on by her. The little female's body was soft. A pleasant, light fragrance drifted into his nostrils, seeping into his lungs. His mind began to grow feverish. He forced himself not to make a sound. After sticking close for a long time, Lorian found that the affection points had finally increased a little. She took small, quick steps back to her grass bed. Little did she know, the crappy system only gave her a pile of cotton. Helpless, she could only use her remaining affection points to exchange for 2 pieces of fabric. After working all night, she finally finished sewing the quilt. Curled up inside the quilt, Lorian was almost overwhelmed with happiness. After she fell asleep, the tormented Qingjue opened his eyes. Was she cold? She found something to wrap herself in. He was very curious about the thing on the little female. He wanted to see what material it was, to see if he could find some tomorrow. While sleeping, Lorian kept feeling like someone was tugging at her little quilt. She raised her arm and waved it around a couple of times. Unexpectedly, she happened to smack Qingjue right in the face. Qingjue grabbed her soft little hand and kissed it. Then he wrapped it around his own neck. He lay down smoothly, holding Lorian, quilt and all, in his arms. He activated the beast energy within his body, making his body temperature higher than the little female's, hoping she wouldn't feel cold anymore. By the time she woke up again, Qingjue had already prepared roasted meat and fruit for her. Then he went out hunting again. Actually, he only needed to eat once every few days. But he wanted the little female to be able to eat fresh roasted meat every day. Lorian moved the hay outside the cave entrance to sun it. She closed her eyes to check the affection point section. she discovered, to her surprise, that it had grown quite a bit more. She was very puzzled. Hadn't she used them all up last night? How come there's another one now? Little did she know, someone had held her while she slept through the night. But she didn't think much of it. She just exchanged for some needles, thread, and scraps of cloth. She was about to mend the clothes torn yesterday, when she spotted a black wild boar, standing less than 10 meters outside the cave. Seeing the little treat at the cave entrance, the boar's eyes instantly lit up. The next second, it charged and pinned her down. Lorien screamed in terror. Heaven's punishment was still 5 years away. But was she going to die right now? She didn't want to be killed by such an ugly wild boar. But her legs had gone weak, and she couldn't stand up. Just as the boar's tusks touched her skin, her vision went black, and she fainted. She woke up again, startled by the roar of a beast. She reached out and touched her neck, surprised to find herself still alive. Looking around, she spotted a green snake, locked in combat with a giant white tiger. She knew that green snake was Qingjue, but she had never seen that white tiger before. Clearly, Qingjue had the upper hand. Coiled tightly around the tiger, the white tiger was covered in wounds. She called out Qingjue's name, noticing she was awake during the fight. Qingjue released the tiger and slithered toward her. As he approached, he immediately shifted back to human form and urgently asked if she was hurt anywhere. Lorien shook her head. His gaze fell upon the white tiger not far away. At that moment, the white-furred tiger also transformed into a male beastman. He casually wrapped a piece of animal hide around his waist. After wiping the blood off his body, he walked towards Lorien. As he got closer, Lorien noticed that this white tiger was also quite handsome. He was at least over 190 centimeters tall. The lines of his muscles were smooth and pleasing. For a moment, she actually stared at him, mesmerized. The man smiled slightly. "Hello, O female. My name is Baiye." Lorien nodded at that charming face. "My name is Lorien." Seeing the little female being so gentle towards another male beastman, Qingjue's face immediately darkened. Moreover, the little female was actually looking at that white tiger's abdominal muscles. It's just abs, right? He has them too. Why isn't she looking at his? He wondered if he was wearing too much. The more he thought about it, the worse his mood became. He immediately told the white tiger to leave. Baiye knew the snake beastman before him was much higher level than himself. The hostility was also very strong. However, he didn't want to give up. Under the pressure, he spoke again in a gentle voice. "May I call you Lorien? Everything that happened today is my fault. That wild boar scared you, didn't it? If I had shown up earlier, such a thing wouldn't have happened." Just a short while ago, Baiye saw that wild boar while hunting nearby, in order to find its lair. So he didn't startle the snake and kept following from behind. Because he was too focused, he didn't notice the scent Qingjue left nearby. When he realized he had strayed into another beastman's territory, he happened to see a wild boar attacking the little female at the cave entrance. By the time he knocked out the wild boar, the little female had also fainted. He hurriedly helped the little female up, and only relaxed after checking that she wasn't injured. After all, females are extremely precious here. Not only are they physically delicate, but it's also hard for them to survive if they get injured. He carefully examined Lorien, and found that this unconscious little female was breathtakingly beautiful. The females in the beast dens couldn't compare to her at all. He gazed at her for a long time, until beast roars came from outside. He quickly carried the little female away. The cave was filled with the scent of snake beastmen. Snake beastmen, as rogue beasts, are cruel, merciless, and violent. They abduct females, but never cherish them, usually just to vent desires and reproduce. Moreover, snake beastmen hibernate, and abducted females generally don't survive the winter. Females fear most being targeted by rogue beasts, so they rarely go out. He guessed such a beautiful little female must have been abducted. So delicate. How could she live with rogue beasts? He must take the little female back to the tribe for careful care. Meanwhile, Qingjue, returning from hunting, smelled the scent of other beastmen. My heart immediately leaped into my throat. He immediately shifted into his beast form and rushed back to the cave, praying that nothing had happened to the little female. At this moment, he was filled with self-blame for leaving her alone in the cave. Although he had left his scent around the area, there was no guarantee that there wouldn't be one or two reckless idiots coming to throw their lives away. He decided he would take her with him everywhere from now on. However, before he could even reach the cave, he spotted a white-haired beastman, hurriedly carrying the little female away. So the two of them started fighting. After listening to Baiye's explanation, Lorian understood that the white tiger beastman had saved her. She looked at him gratefully. "Thank you so much. I don't even know how to repay you." But she could barely take care of herself, and truly had nothing to give him. Could she possibly give him some cotton and scraps of cloth? The mere thought of that scene made her want to laugh out loud. Looking at the little female's delicate face, Baiye's gaze grew increasingly intense. This little female was not only beautiful, but also very polite. In the beast world, because females were scarce, they had long been spoiled by the males, so he swore he'd become this little female's mate. Qingjue, standing to the side, saw Baiye staring intently at Lorian. His face grew even darker. He scooped Lorian up into his arms horizontally and headed towards the cave. "To thank you for saving my mate, I will send you plenty of game. So now get back to your tribe." Although he failed to bring the little female back, but Baiye won't give up so easily. Meanwhile, after Qingjue brought Lorian back, he directly lifted his own clothes. Lorian was completely stunned. What is he trying to do? Just because his beloved female glanced at another male's abs, the man's jealousy instantly exploded. To win back the little female's attention, he directly lifted his own clothes. "You like looking at abs, right? I have them too. Just look at mine. Look as much as you want. Touch as much as you want." Lorian immediately blushed in embarrassment. Was she really that thirsty when she looked at White Tiger earlier? She hurriedly covered her face and lay back on the hay. "Too tired today. I'll look another time." Qingjue felt a bit disappointed. "But another day is fine too." Then he took out a large piece of animal hide from his space and covered her with it. Beast-type males aren't afraid of the cold, but females are different, especially this little female in front of him. Lorian was very puzzled. Where did he get such a large piece of animal hide from? The long-missing system Jiaoliu finally appeared. "Host, male beastmen here develop a personal space when they reach high rank. But we have one too." Seeing the system, Lorian was furious. "Where did you run off to when I was attacked by the wild boar earlier?" The system guiltily turned its little face away. "Well, I had a meeting this morning." "Host, you have no idea how tough it is for us system developers. We have to hold regular meetings and training sessions every month. All of this is done to provide you with better service. But in reality, I just sneaked off to sleep." After making up an excuse, I quickly changed the subject. "Host, our space is not only larger than theirs, but also more advanced. Their space will spoil food if stored for too long. But ours stays fresh no matter how long it's stored. For just 10,000 points of affection, you can exchange for 1 cubic meter of space." Lorian almost coughed up blood hearing this. Only 1 cubic meter for 10,000 affection points. Why don't you just go rob someone? You might as well stop calling yourself Jiaoliu from now on, and just go by old 6. You're completely useless except for being stingy. Every time I need something, you pop up to make a sales pitch. But when danger comes, you just disappear on me." The system coughed lightly in embarrassment. "Once you have the space, host, everything will be much more convenient. So to get the space sooner, host, you should stick close to the snake beast. to earn affection points for the exchange. Lorien felt like crying, but had no tears. After the previous wild boar attack, Qingjue takes her everywhere he goes. Lorien originally wanted to walk on her own, but Qingjue, wanting more chances to get close to the little female, lied to her, saying the grass was too deep. There are many snakes, scorpions, and crawling insects on the ground. Lorien was speechless. Aren't you a snake yourself? But for the sake of affection, points, she obediently let him hold her. And so, two people with their own hidden thoughts spent their days together in this manner. Soon, Lorien had saved up enough affection points to buy a space. She even used the remaining points to exchange for some pure cotton fabric. After all, when she crossed over, her bag only contained a single pair of panties. And they were disposable at that. She needed to make a few more pairs. Unfortunately, her sewing skills were terrible. Carelessly, she pricked her finger. A bead of blood welled up on her finger. Before she even felt the pain, a slender hand reached out beside her, accompanied by a cold, anxious voice. "What are you doing?" Immediately, Qingjue grabbed her finger and put it in his mouth to suck on it. It felt cool and soothing, and quite comfortable. But soon, she heard a reproachful voice. "I'll handle the sewing of fabrics and such. Why did you stab yourself?" Lorien silently rolled her eyes. "Do you think I wanted to prick myself? Not everyone has your exceptional skills." It turned out that during their time together, she had discovered that Qingjue was not only highly skilled at hunting outside, but also excelled at needlework. He had made quite a few clothes for her, designed based on the clothes she had worn when she crossed over. But she couldn't possibly ask him to make her underwear as well, could she? Unexpectedly, Qingjue suddenly snatched the panties from her hand. "And you still ask what this is?" Blushing, Lorien hurriedly snatched it back. Stammering, she explained it was a small garment for females. Qingjue's gaze swept over her from head to toe. Finally, his eyes locked onto the precise spot. Judging by the size and shape, that was the only place it would fit. He didn't say a word. He walked over and sat down beside Lorien. Forcefully, he pulled the fabric from her hands. After studying it for a while, he picked up a needle and thread and began sewing. At this moment, Lorien was so embarrassed. She could have dug a 3-bedroom apartment out of the ground with her toes. Having a man make this kind of thing. She didn't know how she would ever face him again. It wasn't long before Qingjue had finished making two. "Here. Put them on." Seeing Lorien frozen in place, Qingjue was very puzzled. "Should I help you?" Hearing this, Lorien went completely numb. Why can the snake beastman say anything that comes to his mind? She shook her head like a rattle drum, quickly snatched them and stuffed them into her storage space. Qingjue sighed with regret. He had wanted to see if they would fit the little female. Lorien, afraid he might say something shocking again, hastily changed the subject, saying she was hungry. Qingjue immediately turned to prepare food. Earlier, following the little female's instructions, he had made some stone pots and wooden spatulas. When the little female cooked, he would watch from the side, memorizing every step. Now is the time to showcase your talents. Soon, he prepared a table full of dishes. Lorien couldn't help but sigh in admiration. This snake beastman is truly versatile and capable. He could practically be described as virtuous. Seeing the little female's smiling face, Qingjue couldn't help but curl the corners of his mouth upward. No wonder the males in the beast market would go all out to please the females. Turns out a happy little female is so endearing. I really wish I could give my life to her. After several months of interaction, Lorien gradually stopped being afraid of Qingjue. Instead, she became increasingly reliant on him. If I can't return to modern times, actually, staying with him like this feels pretty good. But there's one thing she didn't quite understand. Why did Qingjue's affection value stop after reaching 1 million? Doesn't he love her anymore? It doesn't seem like it. The system showed a mischievous smile. Because you haven't taken the final step yet. You need to bond with the snake beastman to gain another 500,000. And the maximum affection value for each beastman is 1.5 million. Lorien widened her eyes in surprise. Didn't you say I need 10 million to avoid the lightning punishment? If the maximum is 1.5 million, how can I complete the mission? The system chuckled. So host needs to find more beast husbands. The males here are all exceptionally handsome. Host, this is an incredible benefit for you. Lorien counted on her fingers. Then at least 7 are needed. Jiaoliu, are you sure you're not? She unconsciously rubbed her slender waist. But at this moment, she just wanted to keep living like this with Qingjue. However, she didn't want to take the final step with him so quickly either. After all, even in modern times, dating takes a year or so. Better to get to know each other a bit more. Qingjue also sensed the little female becoming more attached to him. His heart swelled with sweetness. If only they could stay together like this forever. But good times don't last long. One day, Qingjue detected a pair of eyes, constantly watching the direction of the cave. With his abilities, he knew at a glance it was that white tiger from last time. To think he actually dared to come back. He's really asking for death. So after Lorien fell asleep, he quietly went to the big tree where Baiye was hiding. With a casual wave of his hand, an invisible phoenix blade carrying immense pressure shot towards Baiye. Although Baiye blocked the strike, blood still trickled from the corner of his mouth. He hurriedly explained that he came to help him. Regarding that little female. Help me? You? Qingjue glanced at him disdainfully. Your rank hasn't even reached king tier. Baiye clenched his fists. This snake beast's rank was too high. He truly had little to offer. But you need to hibernate every winter. In a few months, the temperature will drop sharply. With no food. The outside world is so dangerous. A delicate little female like Lorien has no one to take care of her. How is she supposed to survive? Qingjue couldn't help but frown tightly, because everything he said was true. He had been pondering this matter for the past few days as well. Not to mention hibernation. He was about to enter his molting period soon. He might even break through to the emperor rank during this molt. It would take at least 1 or 2 months. If he's not careful, he could go berserk. How would Lorien, with no one to care for her, survive then? Seeing Qingjue remain silent, Baiye knew he had hit a sore spot. He spoke again. I know my strength isn't as good as yours, but compared to other beastmen, it's still decent. And I'm about to break through to the king rank soon. I can help you take care of Lorien. I swear to the beast god. I will always be good to her. This point, Qingjue did not doubt. His Lorien is so beautiful and lovely. Any normal beastman would dote on her. Moreover, life in the tribe is more stable than being with a wandering beast. It's more suitable for a little female to survive. At this moment, Baiye didn't dare to miss any slight change in Qingjue's expression, because he himself wasn't confident either. If the other party was a selfish, possessive snake beast, then he would never let the little female go. Qingjue seriously assessed the white tiger before him. After an internal struggle, he finally relented. I will be ascending in rank in half a month. Take good care of her when the time comes. After I level up, you will come find you all. During this period, you must not force Lorien to mate. Otherwise, I will have all the ORCs in your tribe buried with her. Actually, during this time spent with the young female, it wasn't that he hadn't brought up the matter of them forming a bond, but he was rejected every time. He also respected her choice. He wanted his Lorien to do everything willingly, no matter what it was. Hearing Qingjue's words, Baiye was as happy as a fool. He hurried back to the tribe to prepare the items the female needed. But over here, Qingjue's heart felt as if it were being sliced by a knife. Although he didn't want to share Lorien with other ORCs, he truly had no other choice during this special period. So he must strive to break through to the emperor rank as soon as possible. After the emperor rank comes the god rank. The divine rank is the highest rank, second only to the gods. It grants immortality. Then, there will be no need to advance further. Nor will there be any need to hibernate again. He can be with his Lorien forever. He cherished every moment spent with Lorien that followed. They went hunting together, picked fruits, did many interesting things. But good times always pass too quickly. In the blink of an eye, half a month went by. The day of parting was drawing closer. Qingjue felt as if his heart was being torn apart. He didn't know what meaning life would have without the little female by his side. But when the agreed-upon afternoon arrived, he steeled his resolve. He asked Lorien if she remembered that white tiger. Lorien looked puzzled. The white tiger that killed the wild boar and saved me? Of course I remember. What about it? I'm going to rank up and shed my skin. I won't be able to take care of you. I'll send you to the white tiger first. I'll come get you as soon as I'm done. But Lorien only wanted to stay here. Don't worry, I won't disturb you. I just want to stay by your side. Besides, I have fruits to eat. Then she widened her eyes to look at him, her eyes shimmering with a pleading light, her rosy lips slightly parted. Seeing the little female's enchanting appearance, Qingjue almost wavered. But he couldn't. What if he goes berserk, loses his sanity, and hurts the little female? How is that any different from killing her? But looking at her like this, he couldn't bring himself to refuse. He could only hold her reluctantly in his arms, pressing his lips against her tender ones. Lorien was stunned for a moment. She could sense that Qingjue's emotions were very unstable today, as if he was desperately suppressing something. To comfort Qingjue, she gently wrapped her arms around his waist and responded. Noticing Lorien's reaction, Qingjue was inwardly startled. In the past, the little female never allowed him to touch her like this. He deepened the kiss, but still forcibly suppressed the desire in his heart. What if the little female gets pregnant? During this period of his advancement, he endured the torment, kissing her as if he had lost his senses for a long time, until the little female nearly suffocated. Then he reluctantly pulled away. Finally, while Lorien was off guard, he bit her shoulder. Before Lorien could even react and cry out, she directly passed out. Qingjue held the little female and sat at the cave entrance for a long time. In the end, gritting his teeth, he took her toward the fierce tiger tribe. Over here, Baiye had already been waiting for a long time. After handing Lorien over to him, Qingjue hurriedly left, afraid that if he stayed a second longer, he would regret it. Baiye quickly brought Lorien back to his own cave. When the males in the tribe learned that Baiye had brought back a little female, they immediately burst into an uproar. They all want to be her mate. They all ran to Baiye's cave to check. But Baiye turned them all away at the door. After driving all the beastmen away, he sat down by the bedside, gazing at the little female he had been dreaming of day and night. His heart was racing wildly. Her fair and delicate little face was like crystal clear dewdrops on a flower petal. Indescribably beautiful. She didn't look like a female from the beast world at all. He suppressed the desire within him, gently planted a kiss on the little female's forehead. She smelled so good. He waited by the bedside for a long time. Noticed the little female's finger twitch slightly. Is she about to wake up? I wonder how she will react when she sees me. Will she still remember me? He held his breath. When Lorien opened her eyes, she saw a handsome, smiling face. It looked somewhat familiar. She realized it was Baiye, the beastman who had saved her a few months ago. Baiye was very excited. He never expected Lorien to still remember him after so long. It seems the little female still has him in her heart. Lorien gave a weak smile. You saved me. Of course I remember. However, as she sat up, she felt a tingling, numb pain coming from her left shoulder. She cursed angrily in her heart. That damned Qingjue. He actually bit her and sent her here without her consent. She must teach him a lesson next time they meet. Baiye saw the little female's furious expression. I guess it must be related to the snake beast. He had just noticed on the little female's left shoulder 2 small pink holes that were almost healed. There was also a smoke gray anklet on her foot that looked very much like a smaller version of that snake beast's. This meant that they had already become mates. When he was young, he had heard that the way rogue beasts and ordinary beastmen form mating bonds is different. Besides the usual method, they can also leave a contract mark on the female by biting her. Thankfully, the little female's injuries weren't serious. It made his heart ache just looking at them. At this time, Lorien surveyed the cave and found it very clean. It actually resembled the cave he had lived in before. In fact, before she arrived, Baiye, afraid she wouldn't be accustomed to living here, had prepared many items females need a long time ago. He even decorated his own dwelling to look like Qingjue's cave, and would place fresh bouquets of flowers every day. Lorien, I will take good care of you from now on. Can I be your mate? Baiye looked at the little female gently and full of anticipation. His deep blue eyes filled with tenderness. He thought to himself that there would surely be many males coveting Lorien in the future. He needed to secure his status early. Lorien was completely stunned. Why are the men in this beast world so straightforward and blunt, wanting to become mates after only meeting for the second time? Even blind dates in her previous world weren't this fast. Okay? She really didn't know what Qingjue and Baiye saw in her. He immediately wanted to bind her for a lifetime. At this time, she had never seen the females in the beast world. Little did she know that her ordinary appearance here was a trump card. However, before she could reply, a deep and authoritative voice came from the cave entrance. Baiye, I heard you brought back a female. Lorien looked up and saw a robust middle-aged beastman appearing at the cave entrance. Deep lines carved by time were already between his brows. Baiye couldn't help but sigh. He hadn't yet gotten Lorien's answer. But facing the tribe chief, he still stood up and began the introduction. Chief, this female is called Lorien. She is also the one I want to partner with. Can she live in our tribe? He secretly resolved that if the chief didn't agree, he would immediately take Lorien and leave. Lorien hurriedly put on her shoes and stepped forward to greet him. When Chief Aimu saw her, he was directly stunned. He considered himself well-traveled and knowledgeable, but he had never seen such a beautiful female before. He quickly revealed a big smile. Of course, you can. Now, the single beastmen in our group have something to look forward to again. Baiye, you take good care of her for now. If you lack anything, just tell me. Don't stand on ceremony. After speaking, he turned and left. But hearing what Aimu just said, Baiye felt very uncomfortable inside. Females are scarce in the beast world. Usually, each female has over 20 partners. Having 50 or 60 is also very common. Some females even have 100 or 200 beast husbands. Lorien is so beautiful. Who knows how many people will fight over her? He doesn't want to share Lorien with so many people. He secretly resolved to become stronger quickly. If all else fails, he will take Lorien and run far away. Find a place without beastmen to live in seclusion. When he snapped back to reality, the little female had already reached the cave entrance. She was curiously looking around. When she saw she was on a mountain tens of meters high, Lorien instinctively grabbed the protruding rock at the cave entrance. She ended up here after falling off a cliff. She wondered if she fell again, maybe she could return. But the system popped up to crush her fantasy ruthlessly. Host, stop dreaming. You can't go back. If you fall, you'll just die, get crippled, or become ugly. Lorien silently rolled her eyes. She asked Baiye why they lived in such a high place. Wouldn't going up and down the mountain be inconvenient? Living high up is to prevent the cave from flooding during the rainy season. And this mountain path is nothing for male beastmen. They can jump up a few times and be here. Then Baiye pointed into the distance, a path where the plants were noticeably sparse. Actually, there is a way down the mountain. But female bodies are relatively weak. They were all carried up and down the mountain by their partners or fathers. Moreover, besides hunting, he rarely comes down from the mountain. The hunting duties in the tribe are taken in turns. It's usually my turn only every other day. I can finish in about half a day. I can spend the rest of the time with you. Baiye gazed at the beautiful young female. His tone was gentler than ever before. He would do anything for the young female. But Lorien was thinking about being in the tribe, and how to gain reputation points as quickly as possible. Being with Qingjue before had earned her a lot of affection points, so daily necessities and such were no longer a worry. And reputation points could be exchanged for various skills like talisman, magic, and lightness skill. After exchanging, she could become as strong as them. Then the system prompted the host. There is a random task 3,000 meters ahead. You can gain reputation points. However, she had no idea. In this mission, she would be targeted by other females because she was too beautiful. Males were not allowed to interfere in female matters. And at this time, she had no skills to protect herself. The man had finally managed to be with the female he loved. But then multiple male competitors appeared, all trying to curry favor in front of the young female. Even the females in the tribe had to get involved. The path to courtship was becoming increasingly difficult. Just now, the system detected a random task 3,000 meters ahead. Completing it would grant reputation points to exchange for survival skill. Lorien looked up and saw a crowd gathered at the foot of the mountain. So she asked Baiye to take her there. Actually, Baiye had already noticed those beastmen. He originally didn't want to pay them any mind, just wanting to enjoy time alone with Lorien. But since the young female was interested, he had to take her to see. Soon, the two arrived at the edge of the crowd. Unable to squeeze in, Lorien asked the beastmen beside her what was happening inside. Several beastmen immediately turned around upon hearing the young female's sweet voice. The moment they saw Lorien, their eyes instantly widened, because they had never seen such a beautiful female before. In an instant, all the male beastmen gathered around her, asking if she had a mate, and suggesting she consider them. This was Lorien's first time encountering so many beastmen. They are all extremely handsome. They are all over 1.9 meters tall. They have perfect 8-pack abs. But why are they all wearing so little? Some at least know to wrap a piece of animal hide around their waist. But a few of the beastmen don't have a single thread on them. The males noticed Lorien looking at them. They immediately raised their chins and straightened their bodies, attempting to display their masculine prowess to attract the attention of this little female. Lorien felt extremely uncomfortable. Was this something an innocent young girl like her should be seeing? Would she get a sty from this? She hurriedly hid in Baiye's embrace. Baiye also covered her eyes with his hand. He told those beastmen to go find some leaves to cover up with. Once he saw that they were all properly dressed, Baiye finally let go of his hand. At that moment, a female approached Lorien, looking at her with shining eyes. "You are so beautiful. I like you so much. Can we be friends? My name is Arnold. What's your name?" After speaking, she grabbed Lorien's hand and kept kneading it. "Oh, my God. Your hand is so smooth." Lorien was stunned for a moment. She noticed this female looked very plain. A head of messy, dry, yellowish hair. A chubby face full of freckles, forming a sharp contrast with the handsome male beastmen around. Taking another look at the other females around, they were also incredibly ugly. Seeing Arnold still holding the little female's hand and not letting go, Baiye was very annoyed. Carrying Lorien with one arm, he walked inside. He should first check what was happening inside. Only then did the carefree Arnold remember. He had almost forgotten the main issue. "It's my elder sister's child, Zhao Mai, who is critically ill. The only witch doctor in the tribe has gone to the Beast City." Lorien approached for a closer look. She found a female beastman holding a child and crying. The young beastman's face was flushed red. Her belly was swollen. Lorien crouched down and felt the young beastman's belly. It was hard as a rock. She also had a fever all over. These symptoms strongly resembled a fever caused by food accumulation. People in the beast world eat raw meat and roasted meat. Young beastmen have poor digestion. It's normal for them to have food accumulation after eating. But the beastmen mistakenly believe that eating more meat will help them recover faster when they are sick. This creates a vicious cycle. Naturally, it leads to food accumulation and fever. As long as her bowels are cleared, the fever will naturally subside. Then he remembered that a while ago, when he had a bloated stomach, Qingjue gave him raspberries and hawthorn to eat. Those can effectively aid digestion. Although the raspberries on the mountain are out of season now. Fortunately, she had stored some in her space earlier. Thinking of this, Lorian reached into her pocket. Pretending to pull from it, she took out a large handful of raspberries and handed them to Arnold. These can help Zhao Mai digest the food in her stomach. Don't let her eat roasted meat for the next couple of days. Also, heat some water to wipe her body. She will get better soon. If you trust me, you can give it a try. At that moment, a sharp voice came from behind. Who are you? Why should we trust you? If the little beastkin dies from your treatment, will you take responsibility? You look like a sly seductress, just here to show off and seduce the males, right? Seeing the young female being bullied, the males wanted to step in and defend her. But they found it hard to interfere in the female's quarrel. However, Baiye couldn't stand seeing his Lorian wrong. Just as he was about to speak up in rebuttal, Arnold cut in and snapped back first. The witch doctor isn't here now. And Zhao Mai is on the verge of death. What's wrong with trying this method? If you think you can do better, then you try. After saying that, he pushed her aside. He had long disliked this Flora. Usually, she relied on her close relationship with the chief's daughter, Elsa, to mock and belittle many other females here. Fortunately, the other beastkin were also willing to trust Lorian. Under her direction, they made a stone pot, boiled water, and used animal hides to wipe the little beastkin's body. Then they mashed raspberries in the pot and fed them to her. While working, the males also didn't forget to show off in front of the young females. Some, with nothing to do, even lingered around Lorian, refusing to leave. This annoyed Baiye greatly. No matter how he tried to shoo them away, they just wouldn't go. However, Lorian didn't pay them any attention, because she herself wasn't sure either. She was afraid that after all this fuss, the illness still wouldn't be cured. Being blamed myself would also implicate Baiye. I can only keep praying in my heart for the little beastmen to get better quickly. Baiye held her hand and comforted her softly. Don't be afraid. I'm here. Being in a foreign world, Baiye's concern made a wave of warmth flow through her heart. Just as she was about to speak, she heard the beastmen shout, "Come quickly, everyone! Zhao Mai is awake." The little beastman's mother excitedly grabbed Lorian's hand and thanked her repeatedly. Lorian's anxious heart finally settled. She instructed them not to feed Zhao Mai anything for now. She would come back later to cook some porridge and bring it over. The sturdy Arnold suddenly picked Lorian up and spun her around. "Lorian, you're really amazing. I find that I like you even more now." Seeing this, Baiye's face immediately darkened. He pulled the little female back, picked her up in his arms. "She's been busy all day. I'm taking her back to rest now." After saying that, he pushed through the crowd. But before they had gone far, the voices of the male beastmen could be heard from behind. "This female is so gentle, and she can even treat illnesses. I must form a partnership with her." Hearing this, Baiye silently quickened his pace. By the time they returned to the cave, the exhausted Lorian was already asleep. Baiye laid her on the bed. He couldn't help but kiss her cheek. He didn't know what had been happening to him lately. Ever since meeting the little female, he had completely changed. "I always want to get close and cuddle with her." He had always been polite and distant towards females before. He never thought about forming a partnership with anyone either, because he thought taking care of a female was too troublesome. But now, he feels that as long as he can be with Lorien, he's willing to do anything. He glanced at the strange clothes on the little female, guessing that the snake beast probably made them for her. He secretly resolved that in the future, he too would learn to make beautiful clothes for her. He couldn't lose to that snake beast. After covering Lorien with animal pelts, he got up and went outside the cave to cook. Before Lorien was brought over, he had done a lot of investigating into her preferences. He knew she liked eating rice, so he had traded animal pelts for a bag of rice a long time ago. He had secretly watched the little female cook stir-fried dishes, and had even practiced many times in private. His skills now could be described as masterly. Using them to compete for favor was absolutely no problem at all. Not long after, he had made a table full of dishes. Lorien, still in her sleep, was directly awakened by the tempting smell. She had only eaten a few fruits in the morning, and had been active the whole afternoon. So her stomach had been growling for a while. Still groggy, she got out of bed, her fair little feet stepping on the ground. Baiye turned his head and saw this scene. He rushed over in a flash and picked her up, placing her on the nearby stone stool padded with animal pelts. His warm, large hands held her small feet. "Lorien, the floor is cold. Your feet must be freezing." In a few days, he would definitely get more animal skins to spread on the floor. That way, she could play barefoot on the ground. Lorien shyly pulled her feet back. She wasn't that delicate. But in Baiye's eyes, she was someone fragile who couldn't take care of herself. He stood up and put meat in her bowl. Actually, he would have preferred to feed her himself. But he noticed this little female was quite timid, so he couldn't rush things. Lorien took a few small bites. She found the taste surprisingly delicious. She marveled, "Are all the men in the beast tribe so domestic?" Baiye saw how satisfied the little female was with his cooking. He felt extremely happy. Just as he was enjoying their time alone, two uninvited guests arrived outside the cave. They immediately grabbed the little female's complete attention. The visitors were Arnold and her partner Qingjue. As soon as Arnold reached the cave entrance, she shouted at the top of her voice, "Lorien, I came to play with you. You must be so bored staying home alone, right?" Baiye was utterly confused. Wasn't he a person? Yet, this person immediately hugged the little female. At one moment, she flopped onto the large bed he had prepared for the little female. The next moment, she was bouncing on the stone stools a couple of times. Finally, she even set her eyes on the flowers he had prepared for the little female. Seeing so many interesting things, Arnold automatically overlooked the white tiger's contributions. She credited everything to Lorien. After all, these things didn't exist in the tribe before she arrived. Lorien was very puzzled. She thought this was the standard in the beast world. Little did she know, it was something someone carefully prepared for her. Baiye suppressed the urge to kill someone. He snatched the flower back and placed it on the table. This is arranged according to how Lorien used to live. If you like it, I can teach Qingjue another day. Arnold, not wanting to engage with him, casually said oh. Then he chatted endlessly with Lorien again. Baiye and Qingjue became completely superfluous, until Arnold asked about Lorien's age. Because according to the tribe's rules, once a female reaches adulthood, she must start choosing beast husbands, since there are many males and few females among the beasts. To strengthen the tribe, a female must add at least one partner each year. Baiye's face grew even darker, because he absolutely did not want to share Lorien with other males, completely forgetting that he himself had taken Lorien from someone else. He secretly resolved, at most, 1 year. Once his strength improved, he would immediately take her and leave the tribe. Lorien was also frightened. Having just turned 18, she lied, claiming she was not yet an adult. Although the males here are all handsome, she didn't want to be forced to bond with someone she didn't like. Not wanting to continue this topic, she turned to cook porridge. She also taught them the method, and instructed that the young beast people should eat less meat these few days. After the two left, Baiye hugged Lorien and assured her, if the clan leader insists on forcing a partner on her, he will definitely take her away. Lorien was very touched. Since Qingjue wasn't here, Baiye was her only reliance. As the sky grew dark, Baiye condensed a golden ball of light in his hand, instantly illuminating the entire cave. This was the first time Lorien had seen Baiye use this kind of ability. She curiously asked what it was. This is beast energy. Male beastmen awaken different beast energies upon reaching the high rank. Mine is light. Besides this, there are also metal, wood, water, fire, earth, and wind. In the distant Zhonglong continent, there are even dragon tribes that can control lightning. Because beastmen fear fire, very few awaken fire-based beast energy. And there are 6 total beast ranks, from the initial rank to the intermediate rank, then the high rank and the king rank, followed by the emperor rank. The god rank is the highest. It's essentially a state of godhood. One can become ageless and immortal. However, in the current beast world continent, no one has yet managed to cultivate to this rank. Baiye patiently explained. Meanwhile, his internal monologue began. Lorien was completely unguarded around him, asking whatever she wanted to ask. She must like him too, right? Her attitude towards him was different from her attitude towards other beastmen. However, what Lorien was actually thinking about was when she could save up enough reputation points to exchange for a skill. So these past couple of days, she kept going to visit that young beastman. Perseverance paid off. Soon, the prestige points she obtained were just enough to select a beginner spell. The choices were healing art and light body art. Lorien chose healing art without hesitation. This could not only treat illnesses and save people, but also help her gain more prestige points in future missions. After the exchange, a talisman merged into her body. It happened that Baiye went out hunting today. She could practice properly inside the cave. After an afternoon of effort, a faint green light finally appeared in her palm, just as she was thinking about who to experiment on. The beastmen who went out hunting returned, but within the dense crowd, she did not see Baiye's figure. Just as she was feeling disappointed, a white shadow leaped into the cave. In a flash, it transformed into human form. Seeing it was Baiye, Lorien excitedly stepped forward and grabbed his hand. How come you're back so soon? Are you injured? Seeing the little female take his hand voluntarily for the first time and show concern for him, Baiye was instantly overjoyed. He hurriedly explained that he was fine, unaware that she just wanted to test her new skill on him. Lorien smelled a strong scent of blood on him. There was also a lot of bloodstains on his clothes, and a relatively shallow cut on his thigh. This little injury is nothing to me. The blood on me is all from the prey. At this moment, Baiye felt a bit regretful. He should have gone to the river to wash up first. It shouldn't have been enough to fumigate Lorien. It's all because he was too eager to come back and see her. Lorien pulled him inside and had him sit down. Let me perform a magic trick for you. With that, she condensed a ball of green light in her hand, infusing it into the wound. The wound began to heal at a visible rate. Baiye stared at this scene in shock. He had noticed early on that Lorien was quite different from the females in the beast world. He hurriedly warned her not to display this in front of others. Otherwise, there could be danger. Because females in the beast world simply do not have beast ranks and cannot cultivate. At the same time, he also had some personal motives. Because the little female was already very beautiful. If others found out she could perform this magic, wouldn't she be frantically fought over by those beastmen? Lorien nodded obediently. She understood the principle of not flaunting one's wealth. But then, Baiye noticed her face looked somewhat pale. Could using this magic be harming her own body? Prompted by his reminder, Lorien did feel somewhat tired, but it would be fine after resting for a while. Early the next morning, Lorien was awakened by a commotion. She got up to check, and found that the beastmen, who had teamed up with a nearby tribe to gather salt, had returned. But most of the beastmen were severely injured. Some wounds were rotten and festering, with white bones exposed. It said the sea where they gathered salt is called the soul-devouring sea. Inside, there are mermaids that devour human souls. And this time, they were attacked by mermaids. The witch doctor of the White Tiger tribe hasn't returned yet after going to the northern city. The witch doctors of the Golden Lion tribe and the Grey Wolf tribes. Witch doctors shook their heads repeatedly upon seeing the injuries. At that moment, a prompt sounded in Lorien's mind. Host. Saving severely injured beastmen can earn new reputation points. Lorien raised a hand to her forehead. Can't she just quietly be an onlooker? But she still secretly took out a bone knife and some herbs that stop bleeding, reduce inflammation, and promote tissue regeneration from her space. Pulling Baiye along, she squeezed through the crowd and asked, Uncle Witch Doctor, I've seen someone treat this kind of injury before. I happen to have some herbs here. Can I give it a try? The two witch doctors snorted coldly. Even they couldn't handle it. Who dared to speak so shamelessly? They were about to turn around and scold her. But then they saw an adorable little female. The two immediately put on kindly expressions. Oh, it's a pretty little female. So brave. Come and give it a try. The beastmen were all stunned. These two old coots changed their faces way too fast. But then a sharp voice came from behind. Why are you, the newcomer, everywhere? You're not trying to save someone just to win people's favor again, are you? Don't think the young beastman's recovery was your doing. That had nothing to do with you. Baiye. Don't be fooled by this seductress. She'll be the death of you sooner or later. Baiye wrapped his arm around Lorien and spoke coldly. Who I like is my own business. Please stay away from us. Got it? My Baiye said he likes me. Some females are just sour grapes. Lorien deliberately leaned against Baiye's arm and gave her a provocative smile. This Flora always gives her a hard time. She wasn't going to keep indulging her, although she's not good at arguing. But Baiye truly likes her. Hearing this, Baiye couldn't help but smile. He reached out and ruffled her hair. Seeing Baiye be so gentle with another female, Flora instantly flew into a rage. She liked Baiye first, but now, outsider has stolen him away. Furious, she was about to go hit Lorien. But unexpectedly, Arnold stopped her directly. Why are you always picking on Lorien? Baiye doesn't like you anyway. Your jealousy is useless. Just be quiet and stop causing trouble. The clan leader heard the commotion and immediately shot a stern glance over. Although Flora was resentful, she obediently shut her mouth. The two ignored her and went to the most severely injured beastman. Lorien had never held a scalpel before, so she handed the bone knife to Baiye, instructing him to remove the rotten flesh from the beastman's wound. Baiye's technique was clean and precise. Lorien couldn't help but gasp in amazement. If Baiye were in modern times, she would definitely be an outstanding surgeon. She hurriedly applied the crushed herbs to the ORC's wound, and then placed her hand over it. The action seemed like she was pressing the herbs to stop the bleeding, but in reality, she was secretly using healing magic to make the wound scab over quickly. Suppressing her exhaustion, she finished it in one breath, treated all the ORCs on the ground one by one. But for the sake of her own life, and to avoid arousing anyone's suspicion, she only used a tiny bit of healing magic on each person. Baiye watched the little female's face growing increasingly pale. His eyes filled with heartache. Yet, there was nothing else he could do, except silently speed up his own tasks. The sooner they finished, the sooner he could take Lorien back to rest. 2 hours later, after treating the last ORC, Lorien collapsed directly. When she woke up again, she saw an anxious face. Baiye held her in his arms as if she were a precious treasure. Lorien had been unconscious for a full day and night. During that time, he didn't know how he managed to endure it. He was truly afraid that the little female would never wake up again. Lorien, let's try to use less of that magic from now on. It harms your body too much. If anything were to happen to you, I wouldn't be able to go on living either. Lorian held him and softly comforted him. Don't worry. I know my limits. And my strength has fully returned. At this moment, Baiye told him about the Beastmen awakening, the chiefs of the Golden Lion tribe and the Pale Wolf tribe, to thank you, have specially organized a bonfire party. Actually, in his heart, he didn't want the little female to appear frequently. So many males are eyeing Lorian covetously. But given his current strength, it's not suitable for him to take her away. Lorian also didn't want to be the center of attention. However, she was still a bit curious about this beast world's bonfire party. While she was hesitating, Arnold's boisterous voice sounded outside the cave again. Lorian, let me tell you. The chief's daughter, Elsa, has returned. She has always wanted to form a mating bond with your white tiger. You should use this party to make her give up on that idea. In the past, she always looked down on us. Because of her status, she even considered herself the most beautiful female in the tribe. This time, you need to properly put her in her place. But Lorian only registered the first part of what was said. She turned her head to look at Baiye. I didn't expect this guy to be quite popular with the ladies. Baiye understood the little female's thoughts. He hurriedly clarified. Lorian, don't misunderstand. I swear to the beast god. From start to finish, I have only ever liked you. Shijin can vouch for this. Although there are many females who like him, he usually doesn't talk much to other females. Being watched by Arnold and Shijin like this, Lorian's face instantly flushed red with embarrassment. She lowered her head and opened her small hand, letting Baiye take her to the bonfire party. When the group arrived at their destination, the chiefs of the three tribes immediately walked towards Lorian. Lorian, female. Everyone already knows about you saving the Beastmen. They want to thank you in person. After Aimu finished speaking, he pointed to his left and introduced a middle-aged beastman with the rugged appearance. This is Fengsen, chief of the Grey Wolf tribe. The one on the right is Yunyi, chief of the Golden Lion tribe. Lorian noticed that the Golden Lion tribe's chief was a young and handsome beastman, with long golden hair and deep, profound eyes. He didn't look much older than Baiye. The Grey Wolf chief Fengsen laughed heartily. I never expected the one who saved my tribesmen to be such a delicate and beautiful little female. What a surprise! To express our gratitude, I've brought 100 large prey as a gift to the White Tiger tribe. Additionally, give 2 pieces of Arctic beast fur to this beautiful little female. Before Lorian could respond, the Golden Lion chief Yuni also spoke with a smile. Our tribe has also brought an equal amount of prey. Additionally, we'll give a bag of red crystals to female Lorian. These can not only be used to trade for goods, but can also be worn as ornaments. I believe Lorian will definitely like them. At first, Baiye didn't react much, until he heard Yuni address Lorian like that. His gentle eyes instantly turned cold and sharp as they pierced toward Golden Lion. Yuni also felt his gaze. He looked back defiantly. Seeing this, Baiye's gaze grew even colder. However, the innocent Lorian didn't notice the undercurrents between the two males. She just happily accepted the gift, because this red crystal could also be exchanged for items in the marketplace. But when they invited her to sit in the center by the bonfire, she still politely declined. Pulling Baiye along, she found an inconspicuous spot to sit down. Baiye's heart bloomed with joy from getting the little female's attention. He took a red fruit from the bowl and brought it to the little female's lips. Lorian opened her mouth and took a small bite. It was truly extremely delicious. Baiye stared at her juice-stained lips. His Adam's apple couldn't help but bob. Unable to restrain himself, he cupped the little female's face and kissed her. Her juice-coated lips were soft and sweet. It gave him an urge to immediately pounce on her. Lorian was kissed until her whole body went weak. She wanted to push him away, but couldn't muster any strength in her body. She had no choice but to accept it. Seeing that she didn't refuse, Baiye felt even more feverish all over. Just as he was about to deepen the kiss, he was suddenly interrupted by a shocked exclamation. "What are you doing?" The unsatisfied Baiye was extremely annoyed. He had finally managed to kiss the little female, only to be interrupted. With a cold face, he looked up to find the source of the voice. They discovered a buck-toothed female adorned with jewelry from head to toe. The person who arrived was none other than the clan leader's daughter, Elsa. At this moment, she was glaring at the two of them with eyes full of rage. She had just returned from the northern beast city with Lina that afternoon. Upon hearing about Lorien, both of them scoffed in disdain, because she believed it was impossible for any female to be more beautiful than herself. She also refused to believe that any female could possess such advanced medical skills. She suspected that the people in the tribe had surely been deceived. So before coming, she had meticulously dressed herself up, determined to win over Baiye tonight. Unexpectedly, what she saw upon rushing over was a scene of tender affection. Furious, she wanted to charge forward and scratch Lorien's face to shreds. But she restrained herself with all her might. After all, in front of Baiye, she was playing the role of a gentle female. She forced a smile with great effort. "Baiye, you are the tribe's #1 warrior. You are destined to become the clan leader in the future. How can you sit together with a female of unknown origins? Come over here quickly and go with me to my father." Her father had long promised her that as long as Baiye became her partner, the position of clan leader would be Baiye's in the future. She was certain that if Baiye found out, he would be overjoyed. With Baiye's intelligence, he would surely understand the meaning behind her words. Then he would shake off that scrawny female to curry favor with her. Thinking of this, she cast a smug glance at Lorien. Lorien watched the buck-toothed female's expression kept changing before him. I guess she must be the one Arnold mentioned, that Elsa who admires Baiye. However, she did not speak, wanting to see what Baiye's attitude would be. Baiye did not let her down. He pulled her into his embrace and glared coldly at the female opposite. "The only partner I have chosen in this life is Lorien. Moreover, I have not the slightest interest in the position of clan leader." This gentle white tiger faced the advances of other members of the opposite sex with such a firm rejection. Lorien silently gave him a few more points in her heart. She gently scratched his palm to show encouragement. However, Baiye's entire body stiffened. If Lorien kept this up, he really wouldn't be able to control himself anymore. The ignored Elsa was so angry her face turned bright red. She was just about to curse. "I saw a dense crowd of ORCs walking this way. I thought they were my admirers." My heart started to swell with pride again. Perfect chance to show this clueless Baiye how other ORCs grovel at her feet. But considering his strength and good looks, she could forgive him just this once. She lifted her chin and struck a pose she believed was utterly captivating, waiting for these males to come fawn over her. Unexpectedly, the group passed right by her and went straight to Lorien, repeatedly expressing their gratitude and presenting many precious treasures. They even displayed their strength, wanting to become her mate. Among them was Feng Ji, son of the Grey Wolf tribe leader, and Yunheng, younger brother of the Golden Lion tribe leader. Elsa was directly shoved aside, her dropped jaw still hanging open in shock. You have to understand, she was always the one being pursued by others before. Extreme rage made her unable to hold back a scream. "There will come a day when you'll come back crying and begging for me." After saying that, she ran away furiously. Over here, the socially anxious Lorien was utterly bewildered by them. How did so many people come wanting to partner with her, just in the time it took to eat a piece of fruit? Moreover, she wasn't very good at handling interpersonal relationships. She could only secretly tug on Baiye's hand. Baiye immediately picked her up and carried her away, using the excuse that she was tired. In the following days, because of the prey gifted by the Golden Lion tribe and the Grey Wolf tribe, Baiye no longer needed to hunt. He stayed home, focusing on accompanying Lorien. Lorien was fiddling with the wheat and potato seeds she exchanged from the mall. The system told her these seeds were fast ripening, taking about 2 months to mature, so she started persuading Baiye and Arnold to farm together with her. Foodie Arnold perked up immediately upon hearing these could make delicious food, and right away got energized. He took Shijin back to gather more people to join the effort. Lorian then brought Baiye to the agreed-upon empty field first. On the way, they met the ORC Moxie, whom she had saved before. Moxie knew he had been gravely wounded back then. Without Lorian, he would have long gone to meet his ancestors. He took out a glowing stone from his storage space. Although it wasn't valuable, it was quite pretty. He wanted to give it to her as a thank you gift. Lorian looked at the stone in his hand and found it truly beautiful, so she accepted it. Seeing the young female accept his gift, Moxie was overjoyed. He had heard that at the bonfire party, the gifts from Feng Ji and Yunheng were too rare, so the young female didn't accept them. So he chose a stone that wasn't valuable, but was good looking. He never expected the young female to actually take it. And his gaze toward Lorian was equally intense. But in the blink of an eye, he noticed Baiye staring him down fiercely. He knew it was a warning. He understood Baiye's temperament all too well. People always thought he was a very gentle person. That's because they had never touched his reverse scale. I still remember when we were kids, he once mocked Baiye, saying the necklace around his neck didn't look like the beast god. So he grabbed it and threw it to the ground. He lifted his foot to stomp on it. The usually gentle little white tiger suddenly went berserk. He rushed forward like crazy and bit his leg. No one could pull him off. He only let go after the boy promised never to touch the necklace again. Later, he found out it was left to Baiye by his mother. If he had actually stomped on it back then, his leg would probably have been broken. But he secretly vowed, if the little female really liked him, then he was willing to fight Baiye even if it meant being smashed to pieces, in order to spend more time with the little female. He suggested going farming with them. Lorian was naturally happy to have more people, but she was curious why they were so badly injured this time when they went to get salt. Mentioning this made Moxie's face fall. The Mermaid King died. The mermaids below are restless, all wanting to become king. They happen to arrive right during their fight. The mermaid song is like a sharp weapon, and they got caught in the crossfire. But this time, we captured a mermaid, to make it convenient for him to take us to get salt next time. Hearing this, the system suddenly issued a prompt. Host has a new task. Rescue the injured mermaid. This time, not only can I gain reputation points, but the thunder punishment time will also be delayed by a month. Speaking of reputation points, Lorian glanced at the shop. She discovered that from the last completed mission, she could not only exchange for one skill, but also for a weapon. Without hesitation, she exchanged for the light body technique she had her eye on before. Just as she was thinking about which weapon to exchange for, Arnold arrived with a huge crowd of people. Arnold's popularity is undeniable. She even managed to call people from the other Golden Lion tribe and the Grey Wolf tribe. However, when everyone went off to farm, the Golden Lion tribe's chief, Yunyi, set his sights on Lorian. The young female's fair, delicate skin seemed as if it could be broken by a puff of air. Her full, rosy lips looked very kissable. He secretly vowed to have her. So, he invited her to visit the Golden Lion tribe. With Baiye not around, Lorian didn't feel very secure. She was just about to refuse, but the other party tempted her with a mermaid. She heard that a mermaid song is very beautiful. Wouldn't Lorian like to go and listen? Now, Lorian was tempted. Her current mission happened to be rescuing a mermaid, and the mermaid was conveniently imprisoned in the Golden Lion tribe. She was just about to agree, but when she looked up, she found Yunyi was very close to her. This made her very uncomfortable. Her body instinctively leaned back. Yunyi showed a barely noticeable smile. Unhurriedly, he reached out his hand, ready to play the hero, saving the beauty. Who would have thought the little female fell into another's embrace? It was Feng Ji from the Grey Wolf tribe. He had been digging nearby with his father. Unexpectedly, he discovered this Yunyi had been pestering the little female over here. Without time to overthink it, he rushed over. Yunyi angrily withdrew his hand, thinking to himself, this Feng Ji is such a busybody. He must find a way to eliminate him when he gets the chance. But on the surface, he maintained a smile as he looked at Lorian. We are returning to the tribe tomorrow. If you wish to go, you can come find me. After speaking, he left with a carefree air. Lorian didn't have a good impression of this Yunyi, but for the sake of her mission, she decided to go. Before that, she needed to prepare in advance. So, as soon as night fell, she used her remaining reputation points to exchange for a vine wind chime as a weapon. This vine was quite spirited. It could lengthen or shorten for fighting. It could also help her escape when in danger. Early the next morning, Lorian brought Baiye and followed Yunyi to the Golden Tiger tribe. In order to show off in front of the little female, Yunheng chattered incessantly to her along the way, introducing many interesting things about the Golden Lion tribe. But Luo Yuan only had the mission on her mind. After arriving at the destination, she gave Yunyi a polite smile. Chief of the Golden Lion tribe, I would like to go see the mermaid, may I? Yunyi stared intently at Lorian. Lorian can do whatever she wants. After saying this, he led them into a cave, where a mermaid was seen nailed to the stone wall. The man lowered his head, making his features hard to discern. But his extraordinary appearance was evident even from his ice blue mermaid tail. Yet Lorian had no mind to admire that beautiful tail. She only saw the wounds covering his body. Blood flowed from his mermaid tail onto the ground. Seeing this scene, she couldn't help but feel heartache. She demanded to know if they were the ones who had injured this merman. Why would they treat him like this? Seeing the little female's angry expression, Yunheng hurriedly spoke up. We found him unconscious by the seaside. If we hadn't cared for him, he would surely have died. Yunyi also explained from the side. We were also afraid he would escape and lose his life. Once he's healed, we'll return him to the sea. That's what they said. But Yunyi's true goal was the merman's pearl. It was said that swallowing the merman's pearl would allow one to walk through the ocean as if on solid ground, moving freely through the water. How could he not be tempted by this? However, he wasn't planning to tell the little female about this yet. The bloody scene made it hard for Lorian to breathe. She could only say she was tired from traveling today, and asked them to arrange a clean cave for her to rest. Yunyi naturally agreed. Soon, near his own dwelling, he found them a spacious cave. He would take her to tour the tribe later. Having seen Yunyi's cruel mistreatment of the merman, Lorian felt even more unfavorable toward him. She merely nodded perfunctorily. After the two men left, she told Baiye about her idea to save the mermaid. Although letting the mermaid escape would be very difficult, Baiye agreed without hesitation. As long as it could make the little female happy, letting a mermaid go was nothing. Besides, he had just noticed that Lorian seemed very interested in the mermaid. It would be better to release it first. To avoid complications later, Lorian was very touched. She immediately exchanged points in the mall for a bottle of scent-concealing spray. After all, the Beastmen's sense of smell was too sharp. If others knew they had freed the mermaid, it could cause conflict. After discussing the details, they decided to act that night. In the morning, Lorian felt she had been somewhat improper. To dispel Yunyi's suspicions, she spent the whole afternoon pretending to be very cheerful, and didn't mention the mermaid at all. When the night was deep and all was quiet, they quietly sneaked into the cave where the mermaid was kept, only to find the mermaid was already asleep. At this moment, Lorian finally saw the mermaid's appearance clearly. Long, thick eyelashes, each distinct. A tall and elegant nose bridge. Beautiful, like a painting. She had Baiye pull out the nails from his body, while she used healing magic to treat his wounds. The mermaid woke up in pain. Upon opening his eyes, he saw a fair, delicate, little hand resting on his wrist. Looking up, he saw a petite female. After the pain, he felt a warm current flowing into his body. Baiye is always keeping an eye on the mermaid. When he opened his eyes, she immediately reached out to block his sight. This magic trick is the little female's secret. It cannot be discovered by others. Lorian did not look up, focusing on casting the spell. "We are saving you. Please close your eyes first." The mermaid closed his eyes upon hearing her words. This little female's voice is soft and gentle, even more pleasing than his singing. He just didn't understand why she would save him. Could it be that she also wants to seize the opportunity to obtain the mermaid pearl? She really is a greedy, land-dwelling female. He secretly made a resolution. If she shows the slightest intention of taking the mermaid pearl, then he will immediately kill her. He frowned in disgust. However, the continuous stream of warmth spreading through his body made him quite reluctant to let go. He wasn't quite ready to lay a hand on the little female yet. He'd let her live a little longer for now. But this little female probably had no idea that their mermaid pearls are only given to their partners, and it must be completely voluntary. If taken by force, then all you get is a slightly prettier pearl. It simply wouldn't serve its purpose of repelling water. The mermaid's thoughts swirled endlessly. Lorian was completely unaware that she was already prey on the chopping block. She was just desperately circulating the last bit of strength within her to repair the mermaid's magnificent tail, praying that he would have the strength to swim back to the sea. That way, her mission would be considered complete. After 30 minutes had passed, Lorian, having exhausted her last bit of strength, finished healing his wounds. Then she collapsed wearily into Baiye's arms. Baiye's heart ached terribly. Holding the little female close, he removed the hand covering the mermaid's eyes. "Can you walk with that tail?" Baiye's tone was full of disdain. He really didn't want to carry him. The mermaid swished his tail and transformed it into two powerful, long legs. Baiye took out the spray he had prepared beforehand and sprayed the cave and the path they had taken. He held Lorian in his arms. Leading the mermaid, he evaded the patrolling beastmen. Just as they were nearing the river at the foot of the mountain, they suddenly encountered a beastman blocking their path. Could it be they were about to be discovered? The man had only been separated from the little female for 2 minutes. And just like that, his home was stolen. Not only did another male take advantage of his absence to kiss and hug the little female, he even secretly offered his mermaid pearl to form a partnership with her. One could say he was sporting a vast green prairie on his head. Yet, unaware of the truth, he was still helping his love rival escape the wolf's den. Just a moment ago, Lorian received a system-assigned mission to save the mermaid. But after she helped the mermaid heal his wounds, she herself fell into a coma. In the early morning, when Baiye was sending the mermaid out of the tribe, they encountered a roaming beastman on the way. In the end, he had no choice but to reluctantly, temporarily hand the little female in his arms to the mermaid, while he went to lure the beastman away. Before leaving, he reminded him not to let the little female fall. He knew the mermaid was very weak now, and had little advantage on land. Even if he had the nerve to run off with the little female, he could still catch up to him. After Baiye left, the bored Lan Ming looked down at the little female in his arms. With just that one glance, he couldn't help but hold his breath. While healing earlier, the little female had kept her head down, so he hadn't gotten a clear look at her appearance. Now, her fair and delicate little face was displayed right before his eyes. He realized this little female was 10,000 times more beautiful and adorable than any mermaid female he had ever seen in the sea. As if bewitched, he lowered his head and kissed Lorian's forehead. "So fragrant and soft. I really want to hold it in my mouth and suck on it. Maybe I should make her my partner. That way, and stay by her side forever," he thought to himself with great joy. But the very next second, he was startled by his own thought. It has always been mermaids who bewitchers. Now, he had become the one who was enchanted. It was only after meeting her once that he was willingly snared. It's just that this little female saved me. So pledging myself to her would be a way to repay her, right? Yes, that's right. I'm just repaying her, that's all. There's absolutely no other meaning to it, Mother said. As a fish, one must learn to repay kindness. But is that really the truth of the matter? I'm almost too embarrassed to expose you. Baiye also saved you. But I didn't see you pledging yourself to him. By this time, Lan Ming had already begun assessing his own capabilities in his heart. He was the old Mermaid King's most satisfactory successor. Despite his youth, he was already close to the emperor rank. He was certainly capable of protecting her. Having said that, he wanted to take her back to the soul-devouring sea. But after thinking it over, he gave up on the idea. Now that the old Mermaid King had suddenly died, mermaids of different races all wanted to claim the throne. Originally, with his ability close to the emperor rank, he could have unified the mermaid tribe. But he just happened to be in the process of advancing to emperor rank. The recent undersea turmoil forcibly interrupted his advancement process. Suffering a backlash, he fell unconscious by the seaside. The result was waking up to find himself a captive in the hands of the land-dwelling Beastmen. In truth, with his strength, he could have recovered and escaped this place in just another half-month. Unexpectedly, the little female in his embrace ended up saving him ahead of time, sparing him from further suffering. Soon, he would undergo another rank ascension. If he took the little female with him now, he simply wouldn't be able to care for her properly. On top of that, he still had to face the bloody conflicts in the ocean depths. So he decided to come back for her only after unifying the mermaid tribe. Lan Ming lowered his head and kissed Lorian's lips, transferring the mermaid pearl from within his body into her mouth. This way, she would be his bonded partner. Meanwhile, Baiye, who had lured the Beastmen away, also rushed back. Having missed the earlier scene, he was still relieved that the little female hadn't been secretly taken by the mermaid. Little did he know his home had already been stolen. Now, both the mermaid and Qingjue had formed bonds with Lorian, leaving him as the only unlucky one left out. He led the mermaid to the riverbank. Lan Ming immediately transformed his fishtail and leaped into the river. Having been out of water for too long, his scales had long dried out and wrinkled. He swore to take better care of his magnificent tail from now on. After all, mermaids relied on their beauty and tails to attract females. Seeing the white fox about to turn and leave, he hurriedly asked what the little female's name was. Baiye shot him a disdainful look. You don't need to know her name. Just hurry back to your ocean already. Watching the white tiger carry the little female into the distance, Lan Ming curled his lips into a smile. It's fine if you don't tell me. I'll find out eventually anyway. Then for now, I'll just call her my little darling. In the future, he wants to be her one and only little darling too. Then, with a flip, he disappeared into the water. The next day, when the two woke up, they received news that the mermaid was missing. Not detecting any beastman scent, they guessed she might have been taken by rogue beasts, because there was a rumor that consuming a mermaid's pearl allows one to move freely in the ocean. This time, taking the mermaid was probably to steal the treasure. Recently, nearby tribes have frequently had females go missing. Rogue beasts love to raid tribes to snatch females, especially the rogue beasts from Devil City. They are very powerful, and might even have a way to erase their scent. Hearing this, Lorian breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily, he had bought the scent-eliminating spray from the mall in advance. Meanwhile, Baiye, upon hearing about the missing females, decided to take Lorian back to the fierce tiger tribe first. But Qingjue stopped them. He said that with rogue beasts running rampant lately, it's too dangerous for him to take the little female back alone. After he finished handling his current matters, he would bring people to escort them back. They would only need to stay one more day at most. Qingjue's words were sincere. Lorian found it hard to refuse, so he nodded in agreement, thinking that staying one more day should be fine. But that very night, after the two fell into a deep sleep, a dark figure sneaked into the cave. He covered Baiye's mouth and nose with a damp handkerchief. After confirming he was unconscious, he directly carried the little female away. When Baiye woke up the next day, he only felt his head was heavy and muddled. Before even opening his eyes, he habitually felt the space beside him. Not touching the little female, he instantly became fully alert. Lorien had always been very timid. She would absolutely never go out alone without his company. He hurriedly ran outside the cave to search. But it had rained heavily last night. The little remaining scent had also been washed away. At this moment, Baiye's eyelid was twitching. He felt as if he was going crazy. But he still forced himself to calm down. He urgently went to find Lorien, wanting him to send people to help search. But when he rushed to his cave, he found it was also surrounded by beastmen. Those males said their partners were also missing. Baiye was very puzzled. They had already mated with their females. Could they still not sense the female's direction? Hearing this, the few males became even more anxious, because they simply couldn't sense their females at all. In the beast world, after mating, beastmen can sense their female's approximate location. But if the female loses consciousness, they become unable to sense them. There is another, even worse situation. To sever the connection between a female and her male, rogue beasts would pierce the contract mark on the female's body. Or they might directly cut the mark off entirely. Qingjue inquired about the course of events. After combining this with Baiye's situation, I guess it must be the Devil City. The rogue beasts have stolen the females. He then ordered those beastmen who had already formed partnerships to stay on the mountain to protect the females. The remaining beastmen went to search in the direction of the Devil City. After saying that, he turned to comfort Baiye. Don't worry. With so many people searching, we will definitely find her. Baiye nodded. Then she transformed back into her beast form and followed the large group down the mountain. Over here, Qingjue watched the gradually departing beast horde. He couldn't help but curl the corner of his mouth into a slight smile. He did not go down the mountain with them. Instead, he turned and walked towards the back mountain. On the other side, when Lorien woke up, she found herself in an unfamiliar cave. Two females were lying beside her. She checked their breathing and found they were still alive. But no matter how she tried, she couldn't wake them. She wanted to go out and see what was happening. But as soon as she lifted her foot, she almost fell into a bottomless abyss. She only found a small opening about 10 meters above her head. So she summoned vines to wrap around the stone above. She tugged on them and found them fairly sturdy. But seeing the abyss beneath her feet, her palms started sweating uncontrollably. With her amateur skills, if she lost her grip and fell, she'd be done for. Just as she was still hesitating, holding onto the vine, a hand suddenly reached out from behind and wrapped around her waist. She turned to look and discovered it was actually Qingjue. Was it him who brought her here? At this point, Qingjue no longer concealed anything. His eyes were filled with a sick fervor. He began to confess his love for her. Lorien, do you know? I fell for you the first time I saw you. So, will you become my mate? I will definitely treat you very well. Lorien shoved him away. I don't want to be your mate. Where is Baiye? Let me out. I want to see him. The little female's first words were about that white tiger. Qingjue eyes instantly turned cold. Is that white tiger all you see? My abilities are not bad either. Why can't you see me? I thought since you came to my tribe this time, I would have a chance to prove myself. But you want to leave after just one day. What else could I do but bring you here? Don't worry. After we become mates, and you bear our child, I will let you out. As he spoke, he moved to lay hands on her. Lorien remembered what Baiye had said. If a female forcibly severs the mate bond, the male will suffer excruciating pain. She asked him if by forcing her now, wasn't he afraid she would break the bond and make him endure that pain? Qingjue's eyes were full of madness, not to mention enduring the pain of a broken bond. As long as I can be with you, I'm willing to die. He pulled Lorian into his arms. He lowered his head to kiss her lips. Although Lorian had exchanged vines for a weapon with the system, she was no match for this male lion at all. She quickly tried to divert his attention, asking who the two females on the ground were, and why they had been unconscious all this time. Yuni looked completely indifferent. Tribal females, just some accessories, don't worry about them. He rubbed his hand against Lorian's palm. He really didn't want his little female's attention drawn to anything else. Aren't females precious in the beast world? You should still give them some water. I don't want them to die. Something as sacred as mating. Having someone die during it would be unlucky, don't you think? Lorian continued, trying hard to persuade him. Yuni very reluctantly released his arms from her, stood up, and went to give the two females some water. He had long noticed that the Lorian he liked was very kind-hearted. The reason he brought them here was firstly to confuse the other beasts, and secondly, to use them to force Lorian to comply. But after finishing giving them water and turning around, he saw Lorian holding a bone knife pressed against her own neck. The sight of the little female preferring death to submission made him furious. Do you hate me that much? To avoid mating with me, you'd even threaten me with your own life? Angry, he wanted to step forward and take the bone knife away. Lorian directly used the bone knife to cut her own skin. Drops of blood rolled down. Yuni froze in his steps. His eyes filled with rage. But he had no other choice. He could only suppress his anger and sit down on one side of the cave. He wanted to see just how long the little female could hold out. Lorian closely watched the golden lion's every move. She didn't want to die either. But for now, this was the only method to stall him. She could only hope Baiye would hurry and come save her. But as time passed, bit by bit, her arm, holding the knife, had long gone numb. Just as she thought about switching hands to hold the knife, Yuni lunged over, pouncing and pinning her down. The knife in her hand fell directly into the abyss. Yuni, his eyes blazing red, demanded, "Why are you only so cruel to me? Yet the first time you saw that merman, you were so kind to him. You even risked danger to set him free. I never even held that against you. Why can't you just show me a little pity?" Lorian stared back in shock, her eyes wide. "How did you know I was the one who set the merman free?" Yuni let out a bitter laugh. "There aren't that many rogue beasts in the tribe. The merman went missing the very first night you arrived. How could it be such a coincidence? But it conveniently provided a cover story for your disappearance. Now, that white fox thinks you were captured by rogue beasts. He's already gone searching in the direction of the ghost city. So don't expect him to come rescue you. I'll give you one final night to think it over. Even if it means death tomorrow, I will still make you my mate." Having said that, he left. Before leaving, he didn't forget to block the cave entrance with a rock. Because he had noticed when he arrived that the little female was swinging a vine around the cave entrance. She must be trying to seize the chance to escape. Lorian was completely stunned. There was no way she could push this rock away. She couldn't understand why Yuni was so insistent on mating with her. She admitted that Yuni's strength was impressive, and he was exceptionally handsome, but she truly had no feelings for him at all. She could only pray that Baiye would soon see through his scheme and come back for her. Soon, the giant rock at the cave entrance was pushed open again. Looking at the sky outside, it was already noon the next day. Yuni handed her the roasted meat and fruits he had prepared. "After we finish eating, we'll begin the mating." Lorian nervously accepted the food. Under Yuni's intense gaze, she brought the fruit to her lips. She had never thought eating could feel so difficult. She ate very slowly, trying to buy as much time as possible. But no matter how slowly she ate, the food would eventually be gone. Yuni carefully wiped her hands clean for her. "Since you're full, let's begin." Before Lorian could react, Yuni pushed her down. Most of her clothes had already been torn off. Even though her tears had dampened her eyelashes, he refused to let go. At this moment, Yunyi's eyes were filled with fervor, even though the little female was crying and struggling intensely. But he believed that after becoming mates, she would definitely like him. Lorian struggled desperately, but the other party was like a massive boulder. No matter how hard she pushed, she couldn't shove him away. Was there really no escape this time? His beloved female was being taken away. The man completely lost his reason. He flung the instigator against the wall. Who gave you the nerve to lay a hand on my woman? Yunyi climbed to his feet in disbelief. Wasn't this white tiger lured away by him? Why did he appear here? It turned out, when Baiye went tracking in the direction of the ghost city, not only did he not find any traces of the stray beast's escape, he also noticed that Yunyi hadn't followed. Recalling the look Yunyi gave Lorian a few days ago, he felt something was wrong. So he broke away from the main group, secretly returned to the Golden Lion tribe, and hid near the entrance of Yunyi's cave. He discovered Yunyi sneaking into the back mountain early in the morning, carrying food. As the tribe chief, he wasn't leading the Beastmen to hunt, but was instead acting suspiciously, so Baiye followed him. In the end, he saw him tearing the clothes off the little female. He furiously grabbed Yunyi by the collar, punching him in the face repeatedly. He was going to kill this overestimating lion. Yunyi's ability was slightly inferior to Baiye's, but during the fight, Baiye also had to divert part of his focus to protect Lorian. Seizing the chance, Yunyi pushed him away and jumped aside. He used beast energy to control the debris inside the cave and hurled it toward Baiye. The cave was too narrow. Baiye was afraid of injuring Lorian. He didn't dare to use beast energy. He directly pounced and confronted him head-on. Yunyi, whose plans were disrupted, went completely mad. Every move he made was lethal. He wished he could pound the white tiger in front of him into pulp. Soon, both of them were severely injured. Lorian seized the chance to summon vines to bind one of Yunyi's feet. She flung him toward the cliff. Baiye also helped by kicking him down. They thought the fight was about to end. Unexpectedly, Yunyi suddenly reached out his arm. He grabbed Lorian's foot tightly. Both of them slid down immediately. Fortunately, Baiye grabbed Lorian's hand in time. Yunyi, hanging in midair, clung desperately to her foot. His face was full of distortion and madness. I told you before. Regardless of life or death, you will be with me. Baiye. If you don't let go, do you want to come down and accompany us? Give up. Lorian belongs to me alone. Even if we go down, you'll only be jealous. After saying this, he used beast energy to increase his body's weight. Suddenly, Lorian felt as if her foot was tied to a heavy weight. Her whole body felt like it was about to split apart. This lion is truly insane. Baiye held onto Lorian tightly with one hand. He used beast energy with the other hand to attack Yunyi. At that moment, Yunyi also struck. Both of them were injured, but neither was willing to let go. The use of beast energy also made the rocks inside the cave began to shake and crumble. Seeing Baiye covered in blood, Lorian had long been crying uncontrollably. Baiye, go, don't worry about me anymore. Otherwise, you'll fall down with me. But at this moment, Baiye was still comforting her. Lorian, don't be afraid. I'll pull you up right away. Seeing this, Yunyi became even more frantic. Baiye, it seems you can't save her. You can only watch helplessly as Lorian and I share affection in the abyss. He used beast energy again to increase the weight on his body. The three of them slid downward bit by bit. Seeing him struggling to hold on, Lorian felt somewhat unable to bear it. She was already a person on the verge of death. If it weren't for Zhao Liu pulling her into this world, she would have fallen off the cliff and died long ago. Now, not only could she cling to life a little longer, she also met two handsome men who treated her well. She was already very content. It's just a regret that she couldn't see Qingjue one more time. Seeing that Baiye was about to slip down as well, she made a major decision, reached out and slowly pried his fingers open. Baiye, let go. In this life, being able to know you. I have no regrets anymore. I just don't know if after I die, you will forget me. Baiye held onto her tightly. Don't talk such foolishness. If you die, I won't live on alone either. He once again condensed the beast core, ready to strike Qingjue again. Unexpectedly, before even making a move, Qingjue suddenly felt a tingling sensation in her hand. A chilling pain sensation came through, as if being sliced by something repeatedly. Unable to endure it, he let go of his hand. His entire body fell straight into the abyss. In just a few seconds, his figure completely disappeared from sight. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the forest, a large green python shook its body, wondering who had been touching him just now, simply asking for death. His body could only be touched by his little female. It turned out that the foot Qingjue had grabbed from Lorien had the mate mark left by Qingjue on it. He could sense his little female from a distance. After Qingjue fell, Baiye pulled Lorien up and held her tightly, afraid that she might disappear again the next second. Lorien, I'm sorry. It's my fault for not taking good care of you. At this moment, Lorien could no longer care about herself. She was even more worried about his injuries. She asked him to take off his clothes so she could check. But Baiye refused to let her see. He said these injuries were nothing to him. Besides, this cave could collapse at any moment. The most important thing now was to leave this place. Afterwards, the two of them brought the captured female back to the Golden Lion tribe together. The first time Lorien met Yunheng, she thought he was a particularly sunny young man. To prevent the tribe from knowing what his older brother was really like and becoming prejudiced against him, she told them she had been taken by rogue beasts, and to act as if they had never met Qingjue. After returning to the fierce tiger tribe, Lorien lay down on her bed, exhausted, finally back. But at that moment, Baiye suddenly collapsed. He spat out a mouthful of black blood. Lorien rushed to him in a panic. Only after asking did she find out that earlier, when Qingjue attacked him with beast energy, he had also used poison. So he had used his last bit of strength to get her to a safe place before allowing himself to collapse. Tears began to fall uncontrollably. You fool! Why are you so foolish? Why didn't you tell me earlier? Baiye gently wiped the tears from the corner of her eye. Lorien, stop crying. My body is fine. I'll be okay after resting for a few days. But as soon as the words were spoken, that large hand fell down powerlessly. Lorien desperately shook his body. Baiye, wake up quickly. Please wake up quickly. Don't leave me all alone. No, she had to calm down now. She haphazardly wiped her tears away. She placed both her hands over his body. A green light enveloped his entire form. The wound healed at a visible rate, but the poison showed no signs of receding. This made her panic. She opened the system shop and carefully searched through it several times, but couldn't find any antidote pills. She immediately broke down, crying bitterly. Her chest felt as if it were being torn apart. The pain made it hard to breathe. Was she really going to lose him? Just when she didn't know what to do, Zhao Liuliu jumped out and told her the healing art could detoxify the poison. It was just a bit slow to take effect. Hearing this, Lorien seemed to see a glimmer of hope. She hurriedly placed her hands back on Baiye's wound to heal him. Here Lorien, feeling tired, sat by the bed to rest for a while. She didn't dare to exhaust all her energy at once, afraid that if she collapsed, no one would take care of Baiye. Once she recovered, she would start using the healing art again. This went on, day after day. But Baiye still showed no intention of waking up. Finally, she could no longer hold on. She collapsed directly into Baiye's arms and fell asleep. When she woke up, she discovered that the poison in Baiye's body had penetrated deep into his marrow. His entire body turned black. No matter how much she tried to use healing magic, it was useless. She could only watch helplessly as his breathing grew weaker and weaker. In her panic, she threw herself over him and wept bitterly. Baiye, don't die. What will I do if you die? Didn't you want to form a partnership with me? I agree. As long as you can wake up. I'll agree to anything. She was almost completely consumed by despair. Just then, a familiar voice sounded in her ear. Lorien, is what you said true? Do you really agree to form a partnership with me? She felt a gentle, large hand wipe away the tears on her face. The next second, she instantly woke up from the dream. The dream was too real. The heart-wrenching pain left her breathless. Through her tear-blurred eyes, she saw Baiye looking at her with pity. Had he really woken up? Or was this yet another dream? Only when Baiye reached out to touch her face, and she felt the warmth of his palm, did she believe that he had truly woken up. All her emotions erupted completely at that moment. She threw herself into his arms and cried heavily. You're finally awake. I thought I would never see you again. Baiye reached out and gently patted her back. Be good, Lorien. Don't cry. I'm fine. Was it you who detoxified me? And because of this accident, I even advanced to the king rank. Lorien lifted her head and looked at him. Really? That's great. Unexpectedly, Baiye pulled her into his embrace again, gazing at her with deep affection in his eyes. Lorien, you just said you agreed to form a bond with me. When do we start? Lorien widened her eyes in shock. Did she just speak the words from her dream out loud? After all, they are different from the rogue beasts. Rogue beasts can form bonds with females through biting. But their kind must be together through, well, you know. She stammered in reply. How about waiting a few more months? She decided to accept Baiye, but she also often thought of Qingjue. After all, he was the first man she met after arriving in the beast world. If not for him, she would have been eaten by wild beasts long ago. If she gave herself to Baiye first, Qingjue would probably go mad. And she would also feel guilty towards him. As she was nestled in Baiye's embrace, lost in random thoughts, she faintly heard beast roars not far away. Moxie's anxious voice sounded outside the cave. Lorien, Baiye, are you awake? A very powerful rogue beast has come to the tribe. Not sure if he's the one who kidnapped the females from the other tribes. Anyway, you should hide first. Lorien wondered which race the rogue beast belonged to. She learned it was a green snake beast. She instantly realized that Qingjue had come back for her. At this moment, Baiye felt a tumult of mixed emotions. That green snake was very powerful. With him here, the little female's safety would be better guaranteed. It's just that from now on, there would be one more person to share Lorien. Baiye, let's go take a look, okay? Lorien looked at Baiye expectantly. Her eyes were anxious, yet excited. She missed Qingjue very much. But now that Qingjue had actually come, she didn't know how to handle being with two men at the same time. Being a playgirl in the beast world was really not easy. Baiye nodded. He picked up the little female and hurried toward the tribe's entrance. They saw dozens of tigers surrounding a giant green serpent in the middle. The scene was chaotic. Qingjue wasn't fighting to kill, while flinging the attacking tigers away. He explained that he was there to find his mate. Hearing this, the tiger males grew even angrier. This snake beast was too arrogant. How dare he swagger in boldly in broad daylight to snatch a female? And he even had the nerve to boast. Then they took turns charging at him to fight. Lorien recognized Qingjue from afar. Seeing him surrounded by so many tigers, she couldn't help but start to worry. She urged Baiye to hurry over. Afraid she might get hurt during the fight, Baiye set her aside. Transformed into his beast form, rushed to the center of the battlefield and roared. Everyone, don't misunderstand. This snake beast is a friend of our Lorien. Now I'm here to find her. He won't steal other females. Only then did everyone stop. They just never expected that such a beautiful, young female would actually know a rogue beast. Qingjue couldn't be bothered to deal with them. He immediately transformed back into human form and spread his arms open to Lorien. Lorien, come here. He had spotted the young female from afar. His cold, gloomy eyes softened at this moment. Seeing Qingjue, Lorian's eyes also grew warm with emotion. She ran toward him, seeing how excited Lorian was. Except for Qingjue, the other males felt deeply uncomfortable. Especially Baiye. He wondered, does Lorian actually prefer that snake beast? What if she leaves with him? What should he do then? Just as the two were getting closer, several tiger beasts came running in this direction. This is bad. The females from the tribe have been taken by rogue beasts. The beasts were very confused. Aren't the rogue beasts right here? Where did they take the females from? Lorian was also puzzled. Her footsteps involuntarily slowed down. But then an accident happened. A large hole about 1 meter in diameter suddenly appeared beneath her feet. Caught off guard, she instantly fell into it. By the time everyone reacted, the hole from moments ago had already been filled in. The man who had just emerged from seclusion finally got to see the little female, only for her to be tragically kidnapped by someone else. Flirting and trying to seduce her in front of her every day was one thing, but he actually wanted to have babies with her too. How could she tolerate that? She immediately took the girl's second husband and rushed to rescue her. He closed his eyes and sensed the contract mark left on Lorian. It felt very faint. The little female must be unconscious. So he took out a jade flute and began to play it. Countless small snakes immediately burrowed into the pit where Lorian had been taken. Before long, Qingjue began tracking in the direction the snakes indicated. Baiye followed behind him. Some of the beastmen who trusted him also gave chase, because many females in the tribe had also been taken. Meanwhile, after Lorian woke up, she found herself locked in a large cave. Dozens of other females were crying around her. It seems she was captured as well. Then she spotted two familiar figures. Looking closer, she realized it was actually Elsa and Flora from the tribe. What an unfortunate encounter, because Baiye had feelings for her. They had given her a lot of trouble. Just then, a man in a red robe entered the cave. His brown eyes narrowed slightly. He was quite handsome, but the smile on his face was extremely frivolous. Let this lord have a look, and see if there are any beauties that catch my eye. Hearing this, the females in the cave couldn't help but tremble, as if they had heard something terrifying. Lorian was very puzzled, asking if the rogue beasts were really that scary. After all, Qingjue was also a rogue beast, and he had always treated her well. One of the females whispered in reply, "Yes. I heard that after with females, they just eat them right away." Hearing this, Lorian couldn't help but start trembling, lowering her head to try and make herself less noticeable. The robed beastman looked down at everyone, scanning the room, and finally pointed at Elsa. Her then. His subordinate, quick on the uptake, dragged her over. "Lord Sochi, please take a look." The robed beastman looked at the female trembling like a leaf before him, his face full of disdain. Why is she all dirty and black? Did she smear something on herself to try and fool this lord? In that case, then there's no need to keep you around anymore. After saying this, he released several strands of spider silk that wrapped around her neck. For a moment, Elsa felt as if her neck was about to be severed. Terrified, she quickly shouted, "Wait! I know who the most beautiful female in the cave is." Sochi spoke casually. "Oh really? Then tell me. If I'm not satisfied, your death will be even more miserable than now." Elsa strained to turn her neck, and pointed precisely in Lorian's direction. "It's her name is Lorian. She's the most beautiful. The male beasts in our tribe all like her." Lorian's mind was instantly filled with the herd of cursing alpacas. This sneaky bastard. Fighting dirty, Sochi tossed Elsa aside and walked straight toward Lorian. Ever since entering the cave, he had faintly caught a subtle, fresh scent. As he approached, he realized it was emanating from this young female. "This scent is quite pleasant. I really like it." After saying that, he flung a mass of spider silk, pulling Lorien right in front of him. However, upon a closer look, he couldn't help but frown deeply. Why are you so dirty? You're covered in dirt, forget it. I'm in a good mood today, so I'll personally take you to the river to wash up. Lorien was speechless. You dragged me here through an underground tunnel. How could I not be dirty? But for the sake of her own life, I still need to struggle a bit more. You're mistaken. I was born this dirty, not worthy of your eyes. Little did she know, upon hearing her soft and delicate voice, he liked her even more. Carrying her, he strode towards the cave entrance. Lorien, tied up like a zongzi, hurriedly called for the system to save her. However, Zhao Liuliu, who had been gaming for 3 days and 3 nights, was sprawled somewhere, fast asleep and snoring. How could he still remember he was in charge of a host? Lorien had no choice but to secretly take out a bone knife, planning to cut through the spider web. But after huffing and puffing for a long time, she hadn't managed to cut a single strand. Meanwhile, Sochi had already brought her to the riverside. Holding the silk thread, he dunked her in the water, swishing her back and forth like rinsing vegetable leaves. Thinking this should surely get her clean, faced with this steel-straight man's bizarre operation, Lorien was so angry she cursed profusely. So when you bathe, you do it like this too, right? But strangely, she found that being soaked in water didn't bother her. Unbeknownst to her, the pearl given by the merman was taking effect. But soaked in cold water, she couldn't help shivering. After washing, Sochi pulled her in front of himself the moment he clearly saw her appearance. Then it started racing wildly. Noticing the little female was trembling, he somehow felt a wave of pity arise in his heart. This feeling was too unfamiliar to him. A touch of tenderness began to surface in his eyes. He even carried her back in a princess carry. After returning to his own cave, he began to check whether Lorien had already formed a mating bond. He lifted her pant leg and discovered a smoke-gray ankle ring. So it turned out she was bonded to a snake beast. But he had actually managed to resist using that method to form the bond. He let out a loud laugh. I declare, from now on, you are my mate. After saying this, he took out a black pill and forced her to swallow it. Lorien choked and started coughing violently. Could this spider have given her some kind of poison? He really was a vicious rogue beast. Sochi seemed to read the young female's thoughts. He explained that it was just a medicine that could temporarily block the mating bond connection. Moreover, this kind of medicine was even in limited supply. If he hadn't been reluctant to harm her, he would have already carved out her contract mark, like he did with other females. The drug's effect would last for 1 month. Once they returned to the desert, that snake beast wouldn't be able to sense her anymore. Due to the drug taking effect, Qingjue, far away 1,000 miles, indeed lost the connection. He could only rush in the direction of his last perception. After Sochi built a fire to keep Lorien warm, he went outside the cave and told his subordinates to prepare to return to the desert in the next couple of days. His right-hand man, Dali, was very confused. Sir, didn't you take the initiative to go out and capture females in order to avoid the Beast King? Why are we returning so soon? Just mentioning this made Sochi feel like vomiting blood. Recently, he noticed the Beast King was looking at him very strangely. He also always liked to call him over for close, personal company. At first, he didn't think much of it. Till one time, when the Beast King wrapped his arm around his waist, he was so startled he jumped. He was a very straight male beast. How could he be turned? So he decided to go out and find a few stunningly beautiful females to offer to him. Perhaps then the Beast King would leave him alone. But now, he has changed his mind. Right now, as long as he and Lorien become mates, then the Beast King can't force him anymore. Ha ha ha. I'm a damn genius. He will become mates with this little female tomorrow. Thinking of this, he quickly made some roasted meat and brought it over to Lorien. He told her about the plan to become mates. Hearing this, Lorian immediately felt the roasted meat in her hand lost its appeal. Was she going to be eaten tomorrow? Seeing the little female's pale face, Sochi thought she was afraid of the pain. He comforted her, saying he would be as gentle as possible, and that it wouldn't hurt much. Lorian was speechless. Why don't you try being eaten and see if it hurts? No. She couldn't just sit and wait for death. She had to escape as soon as possible. So after Sochi lay down, her gaze would occasionally drift over towards him, checking if he was asleep. Feeling the little female's gaze, Sochi confidently curled the corner of his mouth, thinking about his own handsome appearance. Sure enough, it caught the little female's attention. So he adjusted his posture, striking a pose he thought was very cool. He secretly rejoiced, sure that the little female was captivated by him. Lorian waited patiently until midnight. Seeing that he seemed to be sleeping soundly, she tiptoed out of the cave. After spraying herself with scent-eliminating spray, she quickly used her light body technique to escape. She leaped through the forest for over an hour. Finally, she was exhausted and collapsed. Her physical stamina was still too poor, but she still couldn't stop. She got up and staggered forward, running. The farther she ran, the safer she would be. But this mountain range was too vast. After running for a long time, she was still going in circles within the forest. She persisted for another half hour. Completely unable to run anymore, she went limp and collapsed on the ground. She accidentally scraped her palm. But having run this far, it should be safe now, right? Unexpectedly, familiar voice suddenly sounded from behind. What's wrong? Can't run anymore? Lorian turned her head and saw Sochi standing behind her. She was so frightened she nearly fainted. How did he find her? It turned out Sochi was born with a keen sense of smell. Even though she had used the spray, he could still accurately pinpoint her location. He walked over to Lorian. You can't escape. You should just come back with me obediently. After saying this, he ignored the little female's struggles and forcibly carried her away. Upon reaching the cave, she began to undo her clothes. Lorian stepped back in fright. What are you doing? I originally planned to bond tomorrow. But since you're so energetic, we might as well start now. However, at that moment, Lorian suddenly felt a sharp pain in her abdomen. A warm flow gushed out from below. Sochi, smelling the blood, immediately understood something. Yet he grew even more excited. If they bonded in a few days, she might even get pregnant. If she had a little one, the little female would like him even more, right? But Lorian was in no state to care about him now. The abdominal pain was so severe she nearly fainted. She had always suffered from uterine coldness. The start of her period was always excruciatingly painful. Seeing the little female in agony, Sochi, heart aching, wrapped her in animalhide. He raised his body temperature with beast energy and held her in his arms. They hadn't brought a shaman with them. He hoped this method would help her recover quickly. By now, Lorian had no strength left to push him away. She drifted off into a daze and fell asleep. Gazing at the petite female in his arms, Sochi felt a deep tenderness in his heart. He was a cold-blooded rogue beast, after all. He never imagined he could ever care for a female like this. He had heard before that some rogue beasts would eat their females after bonding. Although it was rare, he still found it unbelievable. Such a delicate little thing. How could any beastman bear to harm her? He wished he could hold her on the tip of his heart. Because of having Sochi as a personal heater. The next day, when Lorian woke up, she found herself feeling much better. But continuing like this wasn't a solution. She needed to make some menstrual pads to use. So she told Sochi she was hungry and wanted to eat some fruits. Seeing Lorian actively ask for food, Sochi was overjoyed. Before leaving, he ordered his subordinate Dolly to guard her well in the cave. After Sochi left, Lorian said she was very cold and wanted Dolly to gather some firewood to make a fire. Dolly initially wanted to refuse, but seeing the little female's hopeful eyes, He completely forgot what the boss had just said and scampered out happily. This adorable manner made Lorien feel that rogue beasts weren't as terrifying as the rumors said. Thinking about how Qingjue, a rogue beast, was also so good to her, she felt relieved. The mall didn't have menstrual pads. She could only exchange for some scraps of cloth and cotton to make her own. Then took out a same-style outfit from her space and changed into it. After finishing these tasks, Sochi and Dolly also returned. After handing the fruits to her, they started making grilled meat for her. At this time, Lorien couldn't help but ask, "Are you going to eat me?" Sochi was very puzzled. They had food. Why would he eat her? Suddenly, he thought of something and explained that only some scorpion beasts do that when leveling up. I couldn't control myself during the rank and mating season. That's why I ate the female. And that's just a rumor anyway. Then he showed a mischievous smile again. If you mean that kind of eating, I'd be very happy to do so too. Hearing this, Lorien became bolder. She glared at him, got up, and went to sit somewhere else. Just then, a beastman suddenly rushed in to report. "Sir, it's bad. Several beastmen have killed all our people." Hearing this, Sochi immediately carried Lorien with him to go see. He didn't feel safe leaving her alone here. Not far out of the cave, they saw a group of beastmen. At the front were a green python and a white-haired beastman. These past few days, Qingjue and Baiye had run tirelessly through many detours without rest. This morning, while passing through this mountain forest, they suddenly caught the scent of the little female. Finally, they found a faint bloodstain on a small rock. They immediately searched nearby. As a result, they found the cave where the females were held. But they didn't find Lorien inside. Only after asking did they learn she had been taken away alone. Now seeing the little female safe and sound, the two of them finally breathed a sigh of relief. Qingjue looked coldly at Sochi. "Give Lorien back to me. I can spare your life." Sochi looked completely disdainful. "Lorien is the mate I've chosen. Why should I give her to you?" Hearing this, Qingjue's anger was instantly ignited. "You're really asking for death." He swept his snake tail towards Sochi's legs. By now, he had already reached the emperor rank. His strength far surpassed Sochi, who was only at the king rank. But, mindful of Lorien, he used only 10% of his power. Sochi fought with Qingjue while holding Lorien. Clearly, he was struggling somewhat. Seeing the snake tail sharp as a blade swinging towards him, and fearing Lorien would be hurt, he simply turned his back to take the blow. The force of this tail strike wasn't very great, but he still coughed up a mouthful of blood. Seizing the opportunity, Baiye struck with light energy the arm with which he was holding Lorien. Sochi's arm shuddered. Lorien slipped directly downward. Qingjue immediately wrapped his snake tail around her and pulled her into his embrace. Months apart made his longing so intense he couldn't help but tighten his arms again and again. Lorien also nestled obediently in his embrace. Seeing this scene, Sochi couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. This snake beast's strength is too powerful. It seems he wouldn't be able to take the little female with him this time. But, Lorien, we will meet again in the future. After saying this, he grabbed the dazed Dolly and used his spider silk to escape the scene. Baiye originally intended to take people and chase after them. But just then, he heard Lorien let out a small cry of pain. He hurriedly ran back. "What's wrong, Lorien? Where does it hurt?" "My stomach hurts." Lorien looked at him pitifully. "That spider didn't really hurt me, so I decided to let him go this time." Upon hearing this, the two immediately became tense, carried her to the cave where Sochi used to be. Lorien coquettishly acted cute, saying she wanted to drink warm water. At this moment, Qingjue's eyes were full of tenderness. He lowered his head and kissed the little female's forehead. Then, with a cold face, he told Baiye to boil water. Baiye quickly took out a stone pot and bowl from his space. Ever since having Lorien, His space had always been stocked with these daily necessities. Qingjue had long ago caught the scent of blood on the little female. He asked if she had gotten her period. At this, Baiye also looked at her. Lorian suddenly felt so embarrassed. Not wanting to answer the question, she buried her face in Qingjue's chest. The two males laughed simultaneously. Actually, they weren't with Lorian just to have children, but in the beast world. Having one's own offspring would be more advantageous for gaining favor. Qingjue really hoped to have a female child, because females in the beast world all prefer fluffy cubs. Male little snakes aren't very favored, but female children are born in human form. Their chubby appearance would surely be loved by Lorian. As for Baiye, he didn't have as many concerns. As long as it was born from Lorian, it would be his treasure. Soon, the water was boiling. Baiye fanned the water to cool it down and brought it to her lips. Lorian obediently lowered her head and took a few sips. Instantly, her whole body felt warm. It's still happier to stay by Qingjue and Baiye's side. Qingjue saw water droplets hanging on the little female's lips. He stuck out his snake tongue and licked them. Lorian was so frightened that she hurriedly covered her mouth. This Qingjue is really something. And Baiye is watching too. This is so inappropriate. Who knew Baiye would suddenly stand up and also planted a kiss on her forehead? Qingjue glared over with a dark face. Baiye didn't back down either. Lorian didn't know what to say for a moment. She seemed to already see her future self, exhausted both mentally and physically from having to coax her to demanding husbands. And Elsa, who had just been rescued, happened to witness this scene. She already held a grudge against Lorian because Baiye liked her. She originally intended to use this chance to let the rogue beasts eat her. Never expected she would still be perfectly fine. Once they returned to the tribe, she must find a way to get rid of her. The girl had just transmigrated to the beast world and already snagged two demanding husbands. Not only are they handsome, but they're also top-tier love-struck fools. As long as they can be with her, they don't even care if the future cubs aren't their own. It's just that now, they fight fiercely for her favor every day. Even just having a simple meal, they have to be stuck close to the little female. So the situation directly turned into this. Clearly, the dining table has plenty of space, but she got squeezed into the middle. It turns out that after Lorian and the others were rescued, Qingjue moved into the fierce tiger tribe. The clan leader Aimu originally disagreed, but since he had also saved his own female cub, and the other males were afraid he would take Lorian away, they all begged him to stay. Although Qingjue agreed to live here temporarily for Lorian's livelihood security, he would not give other males any chance to get close to her. After returning to the cave where Baiye lived, he began to look around inside. He was quite satisfied with this living environment. It seemed this white tiger treated Lorian quite well. After placing the little female on the bed, he carved out another cave next door. He absolutely did not want to live with this white tiger, seeing how they had been running around outside for days to rescue her. Lorian decided to make a hot pot meal to reward them. She used affection points to exchange for a pack of hot pot base in the system mall. Then she started bustling around in the kitchen. Baiye helped her while secretly noting down the steps in his little notebook. Next time, he would personally cook it for the little female. Soon, the afternoon passed. Lorian prepared a table full of food. Qingjue had already tittied up the adjacent cave. Not only were stone stools, a table, and a wooden bed all available, but he had even placed fresh flowers in a vase on the table. It must be said, the efficiency of Beastmen is truly high. Lorian called him over to enjoy the meal together. She happily explained how to eat hot pot to them, guaranteeing it would be an unforgettable experience for life. However, the attention of the two males was not on this. Both pairs of eyes were practically glued to the little female, watching her eat until her face flushed red. Baiye couldn't help but swallow. He really wanted to hold her in his arms. And Qingjue was much bolder than him. He reached out his arm, directly pulled Lorian onto his lap, lifted her chin and kissed her. Lorian was completely stunned. Why does Qingjue keep wanting to kiss all the time? He flusteredly pushed her away. I still need to eat. But Qingjue over here hadn't let go yet. Over there, the unwilling Baiye also moved closer, picked up a piece of meat and held it to her lips. I'll feed you. Lorian was utterly speechless. Why does eating a meal have to be so much trouble? The table is clearly so big. Yet they insist on squeezing together. Qingjue shot Baiye an annoyed glare. Lorian will stay with me for these 10 days. After that, 1 day each. Although Baiye was reluctant, he still nodded. If he angered the snake beast, and he took the little female away, it would be very hard to find her again. After all, he hadn't yet formed a partnership with Lorian. He couldn't sense her location. Lorian, squeezed between them, was full of confusion. Aren't these two going to ask for my opinion? Night. As soon as Qingjue brought Lorian back to his cave, he removed his robe. She naturally placed her hand on his abs. I remember you really liked this. Then go ahead and touch them. You can touch them however you like. Lorian instantly blushed crimson. Hadn't she just glanced at Baiye's abs once back then? How could he still remember it now? She slowly retracted her hand, indicating it wasn't necessary. Before she could finish speaking, she was directly pulled into Qingjue's embrace. Is that so? Then it's my turn now. Lorian flusteredly tried to push him away. Who would have thought Qingjue would immediately put on a hurt, pitiful expression? I haven't seen you for several months. I just want to kiss you, that's all. I won't do anything else. Lorian's heart softened for a moment, and she gave up struggling. Intense longing erupted at this moment. Qingjue covered the little female's body with kisses, drifting to her lips. After a long moment without any response from her, he looked up, puzzled, only to find the little female had actually fallen asleep. Qingjue was utterly helpless, but seeing her sleeping so soundly, he couldn't bear to disturb her further. Holding her, he too drifted into dreamland. After not seeing her for a night, Baiye noticed the snake beast sent on Lorian had grown much stronger. The light in his eyes couldn't help but darken for an instant. He went to make breakfast with a heavy heart. Lorian immediately noticed something was wrong with him, afraid that Qingjue would get jealous. So, taking advantage of Qingjue's inattention, she went over and gave him a kiss. For a moment, Baiye's tail was practically wagging up to the sky. It seems the little female still cares about him a lot. In his excellent mood, he performed exceptionally well. He made dishes he had never managed to create before. Lorian looked at the table full of delicious food. Then she looked again at the handsome and captivating Baiye. She exclaimed that she had really hit the jackpot. Hearing this, Qingjue was not pleased. He pulled her into his arms discontentedly. It's just some food, isn't it? I'll make some for you tomorrow too. Lorian caught a whiff of jealousy in the air. She hurriedly tried to soothe him. You and Baiye have different roles. I really love the clothes you made for me. Hearing this, Qingjue's heart immediately bloomed with joy. He confidently raised his head. That's right, the little female still needs him very much. Why was he even competing with this white tiger? In a couple of days, he would make Lorian a few more dresses. Lorian saw his expression soften, and silently breathed a sigh of relief. Being a playgirl in the beast world is really too difficult. Just thinking about having to find 5 more mates to avoid the lightning punishment made her feel a bit of a headache. Right now, handling these two is already a handful. And after the 2 males had their fur smoothed by her, they started wagging their tails at her like clingy little puppies, either putting food in her bowl or pouring water for her, and even occasionally batting their eyelashes at her. While this family of 3 was sweet and loving, someone else was not happy. Seeing Baiye's whole attention focused on Lorian, Elsa anxiously found Aimu. Father, quickly think of a solution. If this continues, Baiye is going to form a mating bond with that female too. Baiye is the tribe's #1 warrior. Aimu had long wanted him to form a mating bond with his own daughter. This would also help consolidate Elsa's status within the tribe. Originally, he thought the more females in the tribe, the better. But if it threatens his own daughter, then she must be eliminated. Qingjue's strength is too formidable. They decided to wait until he went out hunting. Then they would send Baiye away. With both powerful males absent then, they weren't afraid they couldn't handle one small, thin female. Not many days later, they finally got the day when Qingjue went out hunting. Inside the cave, Lorien was teaching Baiye to practice riding. Suddenly a beastman ran in. Said dozens of bear beasts had come, with prey to the tribe wanting to trade for several females. They disagreed. Afterwards, the two sides started fighting. Because many beastmen had gone out hunting, they were short-handed and asked Baiye to hurry and check it out. Baiye hesitated somewhat. Although the little female was relatively safe inside the tribe, he still wasn't very comfortable leaving her alone here. But Lorien, smiling, pushed him out of the cave, said she had her vines to protect her life, told him to go with peace of mind. Hearing this, Baiye reluctantly left. But after he had gone far, Lorien noticed a white mist suddenly appearing inside the cave. Before it could even process what was happening, I passed out directly. Meanwhile, at the Grey Wolf tribe on the other side, Feng Ji was training on the hilltop. But his mind was filled with thoughts of Lorien. Ever since that snake beast appeared, he had never visited the White Tiger tribe again. The snake beast's strength was too formidable, and its possessiveness over the little female was terrifyingly intense. So now, he could only focus on constantly improving his own strength. If he could reach the Emperor rank, he might still have a chance to compete with the snake beast. Just as he was thinking this, a wolf beast came running over to report, saying that a female from the fierce tiger tribe was here to see him. Hearing this, Feng Ji immediately perked up, thinking that Lorien had come to find him. He hurriedly ran out, but the person he saw at the tribe's entrance was actually Flora. Behind her followed a bear beast, carrying a large animal skin scroll on its shoulder. Realizing it wasn't the person he wanted to see, Feng Ji's tone instantly turned cold. "What do you want from me?" If this Flora weren't from the fierce tiger tribe, he wouldn't even bother speaking to her. But she claimed she wanted to make a deal with him, one related to Lorien. However, it had to be discussed in a place with no one else around. Hearing that it involved Lorien, Feng Ji brought her to his cave. Flora instructed the bear beast to place the animal skin scroll on the ground, then told him to wait outside for her. With only the two of them left in the cave, she slowly untied a corner of the animal hide scroll. Lorien's pale little face was revealed. Feng Ji saw her lying there motionless with her eyes closed. He anxiously wanted to step forward to check on her. But then, he saw Flora suddenly pull out a sharp bone knife and press it against Lorien's neck. "I told you. I'm here to negotiate terms with you. As long as you agree to do one thing for me, I will give her to you." Feng Ji suppressed his anger with great effort, and asked her what the matter was. Flora then took out a packet of pleasure powder. "It's very simple. At sunset this evening, you lure Baiye to the woods by the stream near our tribe. Then just sprinkle this on him. Additionally, kill that bear beast outside. And you must keep what happened today a secret." Worried about Lorien, Feng Ji agreed immediately, but Flora demanded he swear an oath to the beast god. After all, the beast people here deeply believe in the beast god. Seeing this, Feng Ji obediently complied. After he finished swearing the oath, Flora finally put away the bone knife. Feng Ji hurried forward and opened the animal hide scroll. He checked over Lorien's body. Only after finding no wounds did he breathe a sigh of relief. Seeing her condition, she was likely drugged. At this moment, Lorien only felt her head was dizzy. She struggled to open her eyes, but the figures she saw were not Qingjue or Baiye. Seeing her awake, Feng Ji, his voice instantly softened. "Lorien, how are you feeling?" But before she could speak, Flora threw a handful of aphrodisiac powder at her. Feng Ji, enraged, gripped her neck with one hand. What are you doing? Flora, however, wore a face full of amusement. Haven't you always liked her? I'm helping you. After today, she will be yours. And also, don't forget what you promised me. Hearing her words, Feng Ji gritted his teeth and released his grip. Seeing this, Flora laughed triumphantly. She was very pleased with her performance today. Originally, their initial plan was to negotiate with the bear beasts, have them cooperate in a staged incident to cause trouble in the tribe, and she would take the opportunity to use a drug to abduct Lorien after the deed was done. Besides Lorien, their tribe would compensate the bear clan with one female. And while the bear beasts were taking Lorien away, they would throw another packet of aphrodisiac powder at the bear beasts. By the time the snake beast discovered something had happened to Lorien, he would only seek revenge on the bear clan. But later, she changed her mind. She refused to help Elsa obtain Baiye. If they became mates, she would have no chance left. So she thought of Feng Ji, the young chief of the Grey Wolf clan. She had long noticed his interest in Lorien. Might as well use him to help herself get Baiye. When the time came, she could tell Aimu that Feng Ji of the Wolf clan killed the bear beast and kidnapped Lorien. After all, the Wolf clan's territory was the only route from the fierce tiger tribe to the bear clan. It's not strange for Feng Ji to appear. In the end, no matter what, whether the snake beast seeks revenge on Feng Ji or someone else, it has nothing to do with her. She reminded Feng Ji to hurry up and handle the matter. Then she left arrogantly. Over here, Lorien felt her head getting dizzier. Her whole body felt very uncomfortable. Feng Ji also felt his body gradually becoming hot and restless, because he had inhaled a little of the powder Flora scattered earlier. He didn't want to be with Lorien in this way either. But if he didn't help her relieve this condition, he was afraid she wouldn't be able to bear it. Once Lorien regained consciousness, no matter how she treated him, he would accept it. From now on, his life would be entirely hers. So he slowly reached his hand towards Lorien. The pure-hearted great blue python finally, formally mated with his beloved female. Now, the little female completely belongs to him. It turns out Lorien was ambushed and hit with joyful union powder. Feng Ji, who was also affected, was just about to help relieve her. Unexpectedly, he was violently thrown against the stone wall by a thick, blue snake tail. Qingjue picked up Lorien. Looking at her abnormal face and burning hot body, he immediately understood what was happening. Fortunately, he arrived in time. He was originally hunting near the fierce tiger tribe, but suddenly felt his partner connection moving farther and farther away from him. So he followed it and came here. He looked coldly at Feng Ji on the ground. He raised his tail, ready to deal him a fatal blow. Unexpectedly, he was suddenly stopped by a middle-aged male voice. It was Fengson, the chief of the Kang Wolf tribe. He threw Flora to the ground. I've already gotten to the bottom of it. It was all a scheme by this female from the fierce tiger tribe. She drugged the female Lorien. My child is innocent too. Besides, the most urgent matter now is to help the female Lorien counteract the effects of the drug. If we delay, it might harm her body. Qingjue glanced at Lorien, who was burning up all over. He let out a cold snort. I'll let you off for now. But he would never spare this vicious female on the ground. He bared his sharp fangs and spat venom onto Flora's face. Flora covered her eyes in agony, feeling as if her whole body was burning in flames. Within seconds, she directly turned into a pile of rotten flesh. Qingjue cast a disgusted glance at the now stiff female, then left, carrying Lorien. Seeing this, Fengson breathed a sigh of relief. This snake beast's power is too great. If they had really fought, even if their whole tribe joined in, victory wasn't certain. Meanwhile, Qingjue quickly found a hidden cave outside. He took out several animal pelts from his space and laid them on the ground. placing the little female on top. By now, Lorien only felt her whole body scalding hot. Unconsciously pressing herself against him, Qingjue forcibly suppressed the desire in his heart. He asked if she could recognize him. Lorien struggled to open her eyes. The familiar figure made her feel at ease. She called out Qingjue's name. Then she buried herself completely in his embrace. Learning that the little female could recognize him, Qingjue swung his tail, blocking the cave entrance with a large rock. Lorien, don't be afraid. Leave everything to me. After a night passed, when Lorien opened her eyes again, she felt her mind had cleared up a lot. However, she found herself lying in Qingjue's arms. Realizing what had happened between them, her face couldn't help but blush. Qingjue smiled and pulled her into his embrace. Now, the little female was completely and entirely his. To avoid worrying Baiye, the two quickly returned to the tribe. Seeing that the little female was safe, Baiye finally breathed a sigh of relief. During dinner that evening, Qingjue suddenly remembered something. So he took off his upper garment and let them look at his chest. The two looked over as prompted and discovered a translucent iris clearly visible there. Generally in the beast world, after forming a bond, the female's beast form would appear on the male's chest. They were somewhat puzzled. Why did a flower appear? Could it be that Lorien was a little flower spirit? Lorien was also a bit confused. If what appears on the male is the female's beast form, then shouldn't she be an adorable little beauty? The two of them saw that Lorien's expression didn't seem fake. I guess she might not know her true form is a flower. But Qingjue really likes this mark. After putting on his robe, he would occasionally reach inside to touch it, showing a satisfied little expression. This left Lorien speechless. Is this still that cold, aloof snake beast? Baiye was full of envy. He looked at the young female with hopeful eyes. Lorien, when can we become mates? As soon as these words were spoken, Lorien suddenly felt the snake beast's unfriendly gaze instantly snap over. He stammered and said in half a month. Right now, Qingjue is at a stage where he's very attached to her. If it were too soon, he would definitely get angry. Sure enough, upon hearing it would be half a month, Qingjue's tense, handsome face visibly relaxed. Hearing this, Baiye happily pulled her into his embrace. He was very much looking forward to that day. Unexpectedly, Qingjue, his jealousy flaring up, suddenly pushed him aside, saying Lorien will stay with me these days. Since we're done eating, I'll take her back now. After what happened yesterday, Qingjue completely gave in to his beastly nature. He spent several sleepless nights with her. During this time, Lorien only felt sore all over. Fortunately, the gentle Baiye who would often come to give her massages. In high spirits, Qingjue went all out and made her a bunch of pretty dresses. Just then, Moxie frantically found Baiye, saying the bear beasts had come to the tribe to cause trouble again. And this time, their entire clan had turned out. They were demanding that the tribe hand over several females, threatening to kill if they refused. He urged Baiye to go help immediately. Baiye was somewhat puzzled. Why were the bear beasts constantly picking fights with the fierce tiger tribe lately? Then he remembered the afternoon of the day after Lorien was rescued, when he had specifically gone to find Feng Ji. Feng Ji said it was Flora who brought a bear beast to make a deal with him. So it seemed, they were in cahoots, but Flora was already dead. Yet the bear beasts could still come to the tribe and cause trouble. That meant the mastermind behind it was definitely someone else. There must have been some deal between them that fell through. He suspected the tribe leader was definitely involved in this matter. In fact, they had discussed over the past few days whether to leave the tribe. But the beast tide is about to arrive. Every time this period comes, the animals in heat will run around wildly, causing destruction. Their numbers are huge, and their threat is strong. Wherever they pass, nothing is left standing. To ensure Lorien's safety and comfort to the greatest extent, they must stay in the tribe until the beast tide is over before leaving. To expose Aimu's scheme, he told Qingjue to stay out of sight for now. And he also made an agreement with Moxie to not use their full strength when fighting the bear beasts, to see how Aimu would resolve the situation in the end. Sure enough, Aimu, hiding in the cave, was anxiously pacing around. He had originally promised that if Lorien was eliminated, he would give 2 females to the bear tribe. Lorien counted as 1. Flora counted as 1. Flora didn't have many relatives in the tribe, so even if she disappeared, he wasn't afraid anyone would cause trouble for him. So he coaxed her into making sure she had to personally see Lorien delivered to the bear tribe, but who knew she would take matters into her own hands and send Lorien to the Grey Wolf tribe, and even ended up getting herself caught in it. The bear tribe, having obtained not a single female, naturally came to the tribe to cause trouble. And outside, without Qingjue's assistance, combined with Baiye and Moxie's convincing performance, the tiger tribe gradually fell into a disadvantage. Aimu listened to the victorious roars of the bear beasts, thinking to himself that it was all over now. He wanted to find a place to hide, but he was the tribe chief. There was no way to avoid it. So he stepped forward despite his reluctance. He forced a smile and invited the bear beast chieftain to his cave for discussions. The beast folk waited anxiously outside for the result. A long time later, the 2 clan leaders emerged. The bear beast chieftain looked very pleased with himself, while Aimu put on a strained smile. We have reached an agreement. Our tiger tribe has always had good relations with the bear tribe. The bear tribe chieftain said that from now on, whenever our tribe has any needs, they will be the first to help. At the same time, to express our gratitude, our tiger tribe will give the bear tribe 3 unmated females and 1,000 head of prey. As soon as these words were spoken, the tiger beasts below all voiced their protests. Their tribe already had few females to begin with, and now they were actually giving away 3 and unmated females at that. If it really came to it, they should just keep fighting. Aimu's face turned extremely ugly. He hadn't expected his tribesmen to show him so little respect. With the bear beasts currently holding the upper hand, he could only use these means to appease their anger. Unaware that Lorien was already mated, he also had a little scheme in mind. He could take this chance to push her out. She was beautiful, and would certainly catch the bear beast's eyes immediately, and the snake beast would definitely not agree. When that time came, they would surely fight, no matter which side won in the end. He would be the one to benefit. He ignored the beast folks' objections and read out the names of all the unmated females in the tribe. As soon as Lorien's name was heard, the beastmen were instantly enraged. To give away such a beautiful young female? Unless you kill us first. A few males who admired Lorien secretly ran to the cave to report, and the beastmen whose own females were selected also angrily raised objections. Elsa hasn't formed a mating bond either. Why wasn't her name on the list? Aimu tried his best to control the situation, urging everyone to calm down, but the agitated beastmen simply wouldn't listen to him. At that moment, Elsa stormed out angrily. I am the most beautiful female in the tribe. How could I be sent to another clan? The beastmen looked at Elsa's pitch-black skin and barely managed to hold back their laughter. So beautiful, looks like a ghost. Aimu anxiously pushed Elsa back inside, thinking, why did this foolish girl have to come out now? Seeing this situation, the bear tribe leader couldn't help but smirk. With this situation, the tiger tribe might just disband today. Then he could even capture a few more females to take back. Suddenly, a cold voice came from outside the crowd. Who wants to send my mate away? Are you tired of living? At this moment, Qingjue was no longer holding back his power. His smoke-gray eyes were filled with killing intent. He directly released the pressure of the emperor rank. Beastmen nearby felt a bone-chilling cold. You must know, across the entire beast world continent, there are only a handful of beastmen who can reach the emperor rank. And Aimu looked as if he had seen a savior. He directly turned traitor and said that those bear beasts wanted his family's Lorien. Qingjue handed the little female in his arms to Baiye. Then he sneered coldly at Aimu. His frosty, smoke-blue eyes seemed to see through everything. Not a single person who wants to harm my Lorian will get away. After saying this, he swung his tail forcefully, wrapping it tightly around the bear tribe leader. The sound of cracking bones could be heard. At this moment, Aimu was filled with smugness and sighed. As long as Qingjue kills this bear beast, no one will know about his plan. Unexpectedly, Baiye stepped forward and stopped Qingjue, saying that he had questions to ask him. Hearing this, Qingjue violently threw the bear beast to the ground. The bear tribe leader's mouth overflowed with blood, in so much pain that cold sweat broke out all over his body. Baiye walked up to him. Speak. Why have you bear beasts been coming to the fierce tiger tribe to provoke us lately? If you don't want to die, you'd better tell the truth. The bear tribe leader also knew how to adapt to circumstances. He revealed everything about Aimu collaborating with them to scheme against Lorian, along with all the deals between them. Hearing this, the tiger beasts also understood why Aimu had wanted to drive Lorian away. After all, it was well known that his daughter wanted to mate with Baiye. Aimu's face turned ashen as his scheme was exposed. But Elsa was still there spouting irresponsible words. Ever since this wild female came to our tribe, she's been flirting around all day long. She's almost charmed your souls away. My father sent him away for your own good. But as soon as the words were spoken, Qingjue immediately whipped his tail and sent him flying into the bear beast crowd. Don't you want a female? From now on, she is yours. Baiye also stepped forward and chimed in. Since our two tribes are on good terms, let's not dwell on the details. Today, you've gained a female, so your trip wasn't in vain. Let's consider past grievances settled. Now, we have internal clan matters to deal with, so we won't keep you any longer. The bear tribe leader knew all too well how fearsome Qingjue's power was, and didn't dare say another word. He hurriedly left with the newly acquired female. The area instantly became mostly empty. Even the air fell silent. Qingjue turned his head and fixed a sinister gaze on Aimu. At this moment, Aimu still wanted to defend himself. Qingjue couldn't be bothered to listen to his excuses. He tightly wrapped his tail around him. Unable to breathe, Aimu felt like he was seeing his late grandmother. But considering Lorian was present, and fearing it might scare her, Qingjue didn't deliver a fatal blow. Instead, he crushed most of the bones in his body. After all, living in agony was the best punishment for him. After finishing everything, he picked up Lorian and strode away. Baiye also prepared to follow, but was stopped by the Beastmen. Someone like Aimu was no longer fit to be the clan leader. They wanted Baiye to lead them, as he was the strongest in the entire fierce tiger tribe. Moreover, he is kind-hearted and has contributed greatly to the tribe. Baiye originally wanted to refuse, but after everyone's persistent persuasion, he reluctantly agreed for the time being. Returning to the cave, he told Lorian about this matter. He nervously asked if she would be angry because he hadn't discussed it with her. Lorian was very puzzled. Why would she be angry? Because you are the head of the household. All matters in our family are decided by you. It was then that Lorian realized that in the beast world, females are prioritized in everything, but she had no desire to be the head of the household. How tiresome. She must push this responsibility away. So she proactively hugged Baiye. In our family, everyone is free. Personal matters should be decided by oneself. Shared matters can be discussed together. Unaware of her little scheme, Baiye was deeply moved. Lorian, you are so wonderful. Meeting you must be a special blessing from the beast god. From now on, we must be together forever and ever. Lorian, whose plan had succeeded, was still marveling at how easy it is to please men in the beast world. Unexpectedly, Qingjue, who was nearby, suddenly flicked his tail. Lorian immediately understood that he was jealous. She hurriedly added, "Yes. And Qingjue too. The three of us must be together forever." Hearing this, Qingjue nodded in satisfaction. At that moment, he handed her the newly made skirt and asked her to try it on. These were all things Lorien had previously, various colored fabrics exchanged from the mall. She drew many dress patterns for Qingjue. Qingjue is very clever. She understands immediately after seeing them. But she didn't want to change clothes in broad daylight, right in front of the two of them. So she asked them to step out for a moment. But Qingjue and Baiye's feet seemed rooted to the ground. Not leaving was one thing, but they also stared at her with fiery eyes. No way. Change now. If you think it's troublesome, we can help you. At this, Lorien felt completely flustered. She regretted having declined the position of head of the household earlier. At least then she could have ordered them around. A few more days passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, Lorien noticed Qingjue had been sulking all day. After dinner, he left the cave without a word and went further and further away. She found it a bit strange. She wanted to catch up and asked if he was in a bad mood. But Baiye pulled her back, looking at her with burning eyes. Have you forgotten? Today is the official day of our mating ceremony. Lorien's face instantly turned bright red. She had truly forgotten about this matter. What should she do? She wasn't ready yet. Although she had been with Qingjue many times, she still felt very nervous. And by now, Baiye had moved closer and closer. His breathing grew increasingly heavy. He wrapped one arm around the petite female's waist and cupped the back of her head with his other hand, lowering his head to seek her soft lips. Lorien frantically called for him to stop. She stammered and asked if he could manifest a tail. She wanted to touch it. She was too nervous right now. She planned to stall for a little more time. Baiye's face flushed slightly, because that was the most sensitive area for Beastmen. But faced with the little female's expectant gaze, he still manifested his tail and placed it in her hand. However, the unaware Lorien only thought the furry texture felt nice. She grabbed his tail and began rubbing it vigorously. Baiye felt as if his head was about to explode. He closed his eyes and endured it with great effort, until the little female stroked all the way to the base of his tail. He could no longer hold back. He pulled the little female into his embrace. Only then did Lorien realize the seriousness of the situation. But it was already too late for regrets. Baiye lowered his head and kissed her lips. This was a completely new experience. She never knew that the always gentle Baiye could have such a wild side. It wasn't until the sun rose the next day that Baiye reluctantly let her go. The overexerted Lorien slept right until noon. When she woke up again, she found Qingjue was the one watching over her. She asked in confusion where Baiye had gone. Her words immediately stirred Qingjue's displeasure. He pulled the little female onto his lap. Why are you looking for him as soon as you wake up? Baiye, who heard the voices from outside the cave, rushed in, holding a bowl of meat soup. At this moment, he had returned to his original gentle demeanor. He picked up the spoon and brought it to her lips. Baiye's cooking skills are top-notch. Lorien drank a full large bowl. Then she noticed that Baiye's clothes were loose and baggy today. His entire abdominal muscles were exposed. A small crimson flower on his chest was faintly visible. She couldn't help but tease him. Baiye, you've grown a little flower too. Little did she know, this was intentionally shown by Baiye for Qingjue to see. With the little female's question, he was even more eager to pull off his robe. He excitedly sat in front of her to let her see. He also wanted to check if the mate mark had appeared on her ankle. Sure enough, on Lorien's slender wrist bone, a milky white anklet had appeared. Meanwhile, Qingjue, standing nearby, was successfully angered by him. He now felt that this white tiger was more and more displeasing to the eye. He had an impulse to poison her. Lorien keenly sensed his abnormality. She quickly gave him a kiss on the cheek. Then she took both of their hands. The three of us will always be a family. We must love each other and not fight among ourselves. Qingjue did not speak. He just shot Baiye a glare. Baiye, however, nodded in agreement. Meanwhile, Lorien spent her days holding two handsome husbands. Her life was extremely comfortable. On the other hand, Elsa was not so fortunate. Within just a few days of being brought to the bear tribe, she had mated with dozens of males. Now, her eyes were full of resentment and venom. Since that wild female Lorien came to the tribe, her days of hardship began. Not only did she lose her noble status, but she also became a tool for the bear beasts to vent their frustrations on. She swore she must leave this place, find Lorien, and take revenge. She wanted to see Lorien die a miserable and painful death with her own eyes. As for how to leave, she immediately thought of one of her suitors, the white-headed eagle. He was someone she brought back last time she went to the northern beast city. A while ago, he went back to see his mother. By her calculations, he should be returning soon. She took off the feathered vest the white-headed eagle had given her, then caught a field mouse from the ground, tied the feather to its leg with a grass rope, and released it. The bear beast's territory is the northern beast city. The one must pass through to reach the fierce tiger tribe. The white-headed eagle would surely notice her. Sure enough, within a few days, the white-headed eagle flying over the bear beast's territory was attracted by the field mouse running chaotically on the ground. He originally intended to catch it for breakfast, but then he spotted his own feather on it and faintly caught Elsa's scent. Coincidentally, the bear beasts had all gone out hunting at that time, so he smoothly found Elsa, filthy all over, inside the cave. Soon, the two escaped from the bear tribe. They stopped to rest on a small hill. He handed a piece of charred, blackened roasted meat to Elsa, saying they were outdoors now, so she should make do for the time being. But Elsa disdainfully slapped it away. She even took out the frustrations she had been feeling these days on him. White-headed eagle was speechless. He felt that this female was really hard to please. Last time he came to the fierce tiger tribe, his mother had disagreed. She looked down on females from small tribes. But at that time, he just liked Elsa's type. So he worked tirelessly and uncomplainingly by her side. But here, he was either beaten or scolded. He originally planned not to come back after returning this time. Who knew that upon returning to the northern beast city, he would run into the tail end of the beast tide. Based on his observations, the beast tide would soon pass through the fierce tiger tribe. Thinking about the time he had spent with Elsa before, he finally decided to come back and deliver a warning, so they could prepare for battle. But Elsa not only wanted to hide the information, she also wanted to watch them get trampled into pulp with her own eyes. Especially that wild female. Thinking of this, she immediately had white-headed eagle take her to hide near the fierce tiger tribe. She would quietly wait for the day of her revenge to arrive. At this moment, Lorien was taking the beast people to harvest the vegetables planted a few months ago. He planned to teach them how to make some new dishes. Suddenly, Qingjue, who was nearby, noticed the ground was trembling slightly. He quickly pulled the little female into his arms and informed Baiye that the beast tide had arrived. Hearing this, Baiye immediately became serious. He ordered some males to take the females and young beast people to the mountaintop, while he led another group of beast people to block the beast tide at the foot and the slopes of the mountain. Earlier, they had dug a large ring of traps at the foot of the mountain. They also placed many upright sharp spikes inside, hoping to kill a few more giant beasts. Although they had made many preparations in advance, everyone still felt uncertain in their hearts, because this year's beast tide arrived too late. Based on past experience, the later the beast tide comes, the larger its scale, and the harder the giant beasts are to deal with. Everyone transformed into their beast forms and prepared for battle. Over here, Lorien had already followed the main group to the mountaintop. Everyone felt very anxious. Lorien, who had never experienced a beast tide, was actually quite relaxed, lying in Qingjue's arms, drowsy and about to fall asleep. After an unknown amount of time, the vibrations from the ground grew increasingly intense. Lorien was startled awake by the noise from the foot of the mountain. Lifting his eyes to look, he saw thick smoke billowing on the horizon. A dark mass of giant beasts surged towards them like a storm. Wherever they passed, rivers were cut off. Trees crashed down. Small animals that couldn't escape in time were directly trampled into pulp. The tiger beasts, 2 to 3 meters tall, before them, were like kittens seeing elephants. Seeing this scene, Lorien's entire body turned cold. In his shock, the horde of giant beasts had already surged to the foot of the mountain. Soon, the tiger beasts were grappling with them. The entire mountain range was instantly shrouded in dust and earth-shaking beast roars. Lorien no longer dared to watch the fierce battle below. Qingjue used his beast energy to raise his own body temperature. He held her tightly in his arms to comfort her. "Don't be afraid. I'm here." Qingjue's embrace made Lorien feel a little better. She really wanted to look for Baiye's figure, but her eyesight wasn't good. She couldn't see below. She could only pray in her heart, hoping he would return safely. In the distance, Elsa saw that the giant beasts had truly arrived. She couldn't help but laugh wildly. She climbed onto the back of the bald eagle, told him to fly higher, so she could watch the battle more clearly. By now, some of the giant beasts had already crossed the foot of the mountain, and were charging toward the mountaintop. Lorien broke free from Qingjue's embrace, let him focus on fighting the giant beasts. She herself stayed with the other females, although Qingjue really wanted to be with the little female. The number of giant beasts was too great. He had to go all out. Soon, he and the other bear beasts transformed into beast form, scattering around the periphery of the females, ready to hunt any giant beasts that charged up at any moment. In just a few moments, the giant beasts broke through the defense line on the mountainside again and rushed toward the mountaintop. Qingjue and the others were soon tangled up with the giant beasts. These giant beasts were far too massive, like moving hillocks, giving people an immense sense of pressure. Fortunately, Qingjue's strength was powerful, and with the help of the other bear beasts, the females were able to stay safely in place. This fierce battle lasted from noon until early morning. The giant beasts suffered heavy casualties. The beastmen were also wounded. Seeing no more giant beasts charging forward, everyone dared to sit on the ground and rest. Lorien hurried forward to check Qingjue's injuries. She used healing magic to treat him. During this, she glanced down the mountain. She noticed the giant beasts were becoming fewer and fewer. She thought to herself that this crisis should be over soon. Unexpectedly, Qingjue suddenly looked warily behind him. Lorien turned her head in confusion to look. She saw 3 giant monsters, roaring as they charged towards them. The males quickly grabbed the females and dodged away. Lorien was taken by Qingjue to a large tree several hundred meters away. He then ran back to lure the giant beasts away. These ones were clearly even larger than the ones seen before. Qingjue was struggling somewhat in his fight against them. Moreover, he had already been fighting for half a day without food or water. He had expended too much physical strength. Soon, several large gashes were torn into his body. Lorien's eyes reddened as she watched, but she didn't dare to cry out loud, afraid it would affect his concentration. Despite his injuries, Qingjue on his side was still very agile. He swung his sharp blade, cutting countless gashes on the giant beasts, and took the opportunity to inject venom. The giant beast's movements slowed down at a visible rate. At that moment, the male beasts, who had finished securing the other females, also arrived. Seeing this, Lorien knew Qingjue was about to win. Her anxious heart finally settled. Just as she relaxed slightly, suddenly, a hand appeared from behind and covered her mouth. Another hand wrapped around her waist. Then, her entire body was lifted into the sky. She struggled desperately, but her strength was no match for the powerful male beast behind her. Watching herself drift farther and farther away from Qingjue, Lorien's held-back tears began to flow again. The bald eagle felt the warmth and dampness on the back of his hand. He glanced at the small, fair-skinned female. For a moment, he was lost in thought. He even forgot to flap his wings and nearly fell. He wondered, could this be the vicious female Elsa had spoken of? Earlier, he had been hiding in the shadows with Elsa. They saw that the beast tide was about to recede, yet Lorien was still alive and well. Elsa was so angry she felt her lungs would burst. She refused to let it end like this. So, she ordered the bald eagle to lure those giant beasts over to distract the snake beast. Then, they would seize the chance to capture Lorien. This time, she wanted to do it herself. Truthfully, the bald eagle didn't want to do this. But he had never been one to make decisions. In a daze, he followed Elsa's instigation. Yet, the warmth beneath his hand now left him distracted. He looked at the small female's delicate, pale neck. Then, he glanced down at Elsa's twisted, dark expression. Somehow, he suddenly didn't want to hand the small female over to her. With these thoughts, his flying speed slowed. But under Elsa's constant urging, he reluctantly began to descend. Elsa looked at Lorien with a smug face. "You've finally fallen into my hands." She had planned this long ago. The first thing she would do was slash that seductive face of hers, then gouge out those alluring eyes, finally leave her corpse exposed in the wilderness. Just as she was thinking this, she pulled out a bone knife and fiercely stabbed toward Lorien's face. White-headed Eagle was shocked. He hadn't expected Elsa to be truly so insane. He hurriedly held Lorien and stepped back. Elsa was furious. She pointed at White-headed Eagle's nose and cursed him out, then raised the knife again to stab forward. Lorien quickly stopped her. She knew Elsa had no intention of letting her off this time. She had to save herself now. As long as the male behind her didn't help her, then she still had a chance of winning. So she started to provoke. "You're only relying on that male's help, aren't you? Without him, you're nothing. If you have the guts, fight me one-on-one." Elsa glanced at the bone knife in her hand, then looked at the unarmed Lorien, and smugly agreed. Killing her with one strike would be too easy on her. She wanted to make her taste fear. Lorien looked at White-headed Eagle behind her. "Did you hear that? This is a matter between us two females. You can't interfere. Let me go first." White-headed Eagle lowered his head toward the voice, saw the little female who had turned her face toward him. His heart instantly skipped a beat. "I never expected this little female to be so beautiful." His arms involuntarily loosened their grip. Lorien seized the chance to use his lightness skill to escape. There was no way Elsa could catch up at that speed. She hurriedly ordered the White-headed Eagle to catch her back. But just as the eagle took to the sky, a giant beast resembling a rhinoceros suddenly charged out from behind her. It directly pierced through her body. The giant beast shook its head, flinging her to the ground. It lifted its foot and stomped repeatedly on her. It really enjoyed the sound of bones cracking. Then it noticed another small toy not far away. Immediately, it charged toward Lorien's direction. Even with Lorien's lightness skill, there was no outrunning it. Just as the beast was about to crash into her, the White-headed Eagle grabbed her and flew upward. Lorien let out a long sigh of relief. "Thank you for saving me just now. But you were the one who captured me in the first place. So now we're even. Let me down." Hearing this, the White-headed Eagle fell silent. He looked at the little female in his grasp, and a bold idea suddenly popped into his head. He decided to take her to the northern beast city. He wanted her to become his mate, although he had recklessly taken her away. Once they spent day and night together, she was bound to grow fond of him. In the past, he had been too soft-hearted, which was why Elsa had always led him by the nose. Now that he had met such a beautiful female, he must strive hard to hold on. Having made up his mind, he carried her and flew towards the northern beast city. Lorien immediately panicked, telling him to put her down. But she noticed the White-headed Eagle's attitude had suddenly become very firm, and she didn't dare struggle too hard. If she fell, her little life would be in danger. Remembering she had a mate connection with her two beast husbands, she gave up struggling. Meanwhile, Qingjue, who had defeated the giant beast, And Baiye also discovered Lorien was missing, only catching the scent of a bird beast nearby. They clenched their fists in anger, vowing to make him pay once they found him. Baiye immediately summoned Moxie, entrusting all tribal affairs to him. Then the two followed their mate, Connection, and tracked towards the northern beast city. But land beasts could never match the speed of flying beasts. The white-headed eagle reached the northern beast city in just 3 days. Since the beast city had restrictions, the two could only enter through the city gates. Now, Luo Yuan had redefined her own perception of beauty. To avoid unnecessary trouble, she covered her face with a veil. The white-headed eagle's home was close to the city gates. The thought of bringing back such a beautiful female made him incredibly excited. But just as he was about to step into the courtyard, a female's voice suddenly sounded behind him. Daying, weren't you going to the fierce tiger tribe? How come you're back so soon? My dad and my sister, Shasha, are doing quite well, right? The two of them turned toward the sound. Lorien's eyes widened instantly. Was she seeing a ghost? Why was Elsa here? And behind her stood 5 strong ORCs. But this female clearly didn't recognize her. However, Elsa had sent her a message before, saying that Baiye had recently become obsessed with a wild female. The female in front of her did match his description quite well. So she asked Bald Eagle what her name was. Bald Eagle obediently reported Lorien's name. Lorien, standing to the side, was utterly confused. No wonder people call you a block-headed eagle. It turns out they weren't wrong about you at all. Ava let out a cold laugh. So it really is that wild female. How about Shasha and my dad then? Did they ask you to bring me any message? Ava directed her question at Bald Eagle. But her eyes were fixed intently on Lorien, her gaze full of disgust. Bald Eagle stammered in response. Elsa, she's dead. As for the old man, I didn't see him. He should be fine. Ava's eyes widened in disbelief. She loudly demanded to know what he had just said. Bald Eagle guiltily stepped back. Elsa was trampled to death by a giant beast. It had nothing to do with us. Lorien was speechless. Now, everything is ruined. Now, Elsa's sister would definitely blame her death on her. Sure enough, the next second, Ava glared at them with reddened eyes. I suspect these two must have colluded to kill Elsa. Immediately had my several beast husbands capture them.